Yeah, we got CM Punk news, the Usos turning on Roman Reigns, and AEW Collision debuts tomorrow night. It's Wrestling Uncensored time, and there's Johnny. How are you?
How's it go? Not too bad yourself, Dave?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
Yeah, rough times.
What do you mean?
Well, saw you last night. You were pretty upset, and I know today you're probably. Well, I was going to talk about Punk, but I think you're talking about other stuff. But okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Yankees. I was like, what are you rubbing it in for? They're losing like 15-5 right now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, game's over.
I think the game's over. Yeah. It's over. 15-5 final? Right. Terrible.
It's okay.
Goddamn abomination of a game tonight. I started watching. I watched like 3 innings. Herman got just rocked. I was like, oh, this is over. It was 10-1. I stopped watching. I was like, yeah, I think we lost.
Yeah, after the Grand Slam, it was over, I think.
Yeah, saw that Grand Slam go over. I was like, whew. It happens. It's baseball. But, yeah. I don't usually tap out from Yankees games, but this one I was like, yeah, I'm good. 10-1. I don't think I need to watch this anymore. Keep seeing them lose. They've lost so many games over the past couple weeks. June has been awful. Season's falling apart.
Well, at least you got more wrestling to watch now, so keep you occupied.
Great. Fantastic. I'm watching wrestling right now. I'm watching Will Ospreay, which I love, you know? Will Ospreay on TV. I got time for that. I wish they had him more.
Well, he'll be at Forbidden Door, too. This is just a warm-up match for him, in a sense.
Yeah. Forbidden Door looks fantastic. New Japan versus AEW. Can't argue with that.
Well, 3 matches so far, right?
Is that it? I feel like they announced a bunch this week, didn't they?
I feel like not everything was confirmed. Like that whole MJF thing wasn't confirmed.
Okay.
With Tanahashi.
But, yeah, he said no, right? MJF was like, no,
right.
I'm not doing this match with this indie, whatever he called him. What did he call him?
Crappy indie fed.
Crappy indie guy. Yeah, he disrespected Hiroshi Tanahashi, one of the best wrestlers in the past 50 years. Just outright saying, nah, I'm not wasting my time with this guy. Which I thought was pretty funny. But obviously just part of the act, and next week they'll make the match official somehow, right? Like MJF and Tanahashi is happening. Tanahashi's not taking his time to do that video promo if he's not going to wrestle MJF at the pay-per-view.
You would think, but I don't know, with MJF's gimmick, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So what, he just doesn't wrestle? Come on, man. He's got to be on that show, because it's like a trade. MJF will get to beat Tanahashi, and Sonata will get to beat Jungle Boy. They're world champion. It's not really a fair trade, no, but hey, AEW's probably footing the bill for the arena and a lot of the production and stuff, so sometimes they win in some trades, no?
I guess so. They're probably going to win most of the matches from what it looks like, but you know, it is kind of their show in a sense, so makes sense.
Yeah, it feels more like an AEW show than a New Japan show. I think this show is being promoted more on AEW TV than it is in New Japan.
Well, very interesting news that came out today about the Collision announcing team that Kevin Kelly, I guess, is now part of AEW. So is he also doing New Japan still as well?
I would guess so. I don't know. They got Kevin Kelly?
Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness, JR, they're the commentating team for Collision tomorrow.
That's a good commentary team.
Well, I'm just happy Excalibur is actually not going to be on a show. That's going to be some fresh air finally, different feel for a show.
Yeah, it will make AEW sound different without that Excalibur guy always talking, because he's on all the shows. And he's okay. I don't dislike Excalibur as much as some people do. I don't love him. He's not one of my favorites in the wrestling business like Jim Ross is. And I know people are like, oh, he's not the same. I think he's a goddamn legend. Don't disrespect the man. And I think he's great on color commentary. And for Kevin Kelly to do the play-by-play with Nigel McGuinness thrown in there, a little sprinkle of Nigel, I think Kevin Kelly is the best play-by-play guy in pro wrestling right now. And I think Excalibur, he fills the role of the play-by-play guy a lot in AEW, and I don't think he's that strong in that role. I think maybe as a color commentator, he'd be better. I like him goofing around with Taz. I think that they're entertaining together. Like, I don't dislike Excalibur, you know? I just think in the play-by-play type of role, there are better guys out there. I think Kevin Kelly is better. I think Michael Cole is better. You know, currently, I'd say those guys about it.
Well, I think it's chemistry too. It's the guys that you work with. I think Excalibur and Taz work well together, but I find JR with Excalibur just doesn't really connect. So hopefully this will work.
They know each other. They've worked together before, JR and Kevin Kelly in the WWF, pal.
Yeah, so wait and see what happens with that. You hope so. They're trying to make Collision big, and I imagine the first episode a lot of people will be watching. I mean, good news now too. The first episode, I guess, won't be live in Canada, but it'll air at midnight, I guess, on TSN 2, and it will air live next week on TSN 5.
Right.
So that's nice.
So it is actually going to air on TV in Canada. They realize it's a big deal, and TSN's actually going to run it at least in the summer. We'll see what happens when hockey season starts up again, right? TSN's will be pretty jammed up.
I expect that, but at least, complaining worked. People complain enough, they get their way. That's what happens.
What about Rampage? I guess people stop complaining about Rampage?
I don't know if people ever complain about Rampage. But I think Collision, people wanted to see it.
Okay. Hey, it's a CM Punk show. It should be on TV. So it's going to be on TV. Well, it'll be on the app tomorrow live at 8, but then the replay will be on TV at midnight. And then next week, it'll be on TSN 5 at 8, and then live. Right. But then we don't know about the weeks going forward. And, of course, next week, there's a reason why it's live at 8, because it's in Toronto. So the Canada show makes sense that they would run it live. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be the day before Forbidden Door. So, that's why they're running it live. But the following weeks, I don't know, like Collision's going to be in Hamilton the week after on July 1st. Canada Day in Hamilton. Collision. Canada Day Collision. That might be on TV. I could see that one being on TV. The following week, they're in Regina, and the week after, they're in Calgary. So they are running Canada for the next several weeks for Collision, so it's possible that all those shows get televised, but once they start going in the States, I wonder if TSN will keep carrying it or they'll just flip it to the app. Don't know.
Well, hopefully
Wife's at home.
Watch
What's she doing? Don't know. Every time I say don't know, my brother would get that. You know what I'm talking about? Triple H, Tough Enough? You're on the road. Your wife's at home. Your husband's at home. What's he doing? Don't know. Tremendous speech he gave to the Tough Enough people. That's a deep cut for you.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't he bash Goldberg in that one too, saying he's a terrible worker and all?
But it's hard to find that part of the speech on the internet.
Of course.
You can't really find that part where Triple H is just destroying, because one guy in the Tough Enough crowd Tough Enough, one of the guys had a Goldberg poster on his wall, and he was a big fan of Goldberg, and Triple H is like, this is when Goldberg was in WCW, and Triple H just buries Goldberg, talks about how shit he is. It was great. One of the best things I've ever seen. Triple H. Oh, man. One of the best things I've ever seen in wrestling, period. And then Triple H doing it is just great. Husband's at home. Wife's at home. What are they doing? Don't know. He just what do you mean? What's happening? And you come home, you got to be super mom or super dad. Tremendous speech he gave to those people.
I remember something about a guy threw a punch, whatever, and he's like, "Oh, if you said like that, then I hurt you."
The snap,
pretty much.
Watch my snap.
Yeah.
The snap, Triple H. Watch my snap is a classic line me and my brother say to each other all the time. Watch the snap. When somebody takes a punch, they got to have a snap. We got that from Triple H. We talk about that Triple H promo. For me and my brother, that shit is legendary. We talk about it often because it's so good. Just burying these
I only
people.
remember it live, but you've probably seen it many times.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Triple H, what a man. What a man. All right, we got a lot of people in the chat. A lot of people want us to talk about CM Punk. Of course, the CM Punk stuff is coming, guys. Alex Tarras is like, let's talk about CM Punk. It's happening.
We kind of talked about it a little bit-ish. We mentioned it. Punk will be on Collision. He'll probably start and end the show, more than likely.
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to Lior, who's a member of the team. Hello, Lior. Lior says, I thought they were going to give the promo 20-plus minutes when they said it was coming up with 25 minutes left and realized Roman's entrance takes 10 minutes. Yeah. When they announced that Roman was coming out, I was like, it's 9:30. What do you mean he's coming out? This is the main event promo. How long is this going to take? And then when Roman and Jay are just kind of standing there looking at each other in the ring, I was like, yeah, they're taking their sweet-ass time to get this shit going because
it looked like it ran kind of long.
Oh, yeah. It was lengthy. We'll get to the WWE stuff. Shout out Lior. Shout out Doug Hepburn, member of the team. He's only seen Rampage on unofficial streams. There you go. That's how you do it, Doug. Don't pay for TSN. What's the point? Harold Schneider. He says they are to start charging for TSN Plus subscription. Really? So do I have to pay extra to get, unless you have TSN, Ryan Katz is saying. I don't know. I have TSN on my TV package. I assume I get the app for free. If I don't, I will be outraged, obviously.
Yeah, I'd be upset, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I get all the channels with it. Yeah, it's kind of weird if they did that.
I should get it.
I'd be upset.
Yeah. Should be fine. I assume it'll be fine, and then if it's not, I will, do what Doug does. Right? Doug knows what's up. Steal things. It's fine. I don't mind.
Well, it should be on TV, so I think you might be okay as long as it stays on TV.
As long as it stays on TV, though.
Yeah, we'll wait and see, I guess, right?
Yeah. Skeptical. I'm skeptical that it'll stay on TV for a long time. Hey, Jeff Hardy wearing a Shad Gaspard t-shirt on TV. That's cool. Okay, CM Punk, I want to read a little bit from the ESPN interview. Of course, if you've not seen this, if you've not read this, if you've not heard about this, CM Punk gave an explosive interview to ESPN where he complained mostly about Hangman Page, a bit about Kenny and the Bucks. He broke his silence on the whole thing. And,
not everything.
Not everything, but on a lot of things. And, of course, he's going to be on Collision tomorrow night in Chicago, in his hometown. And we saw the promo on Dynamite. He said, I don't even know what I'm going to say until I get there. Tune in with a live mic. Anything can happen. So he's already teasing that he's going to say some crazy stuff, which is cool because I like when CM Punk cuts promos. He's really good at it. I've been watching him for years, and
one of the best.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
There's no doubt about it.
I was about to take a drink, then you went to take a drink. We're both going to be let's just both do it. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, when CM Punk talks, the world.
I wanted you to take a drink. So. I thought we were just going to both.
I'll take a drink.
Let's both.
Hold on a second, because I got to get my Gatorade in.
Yeah.
All right. Refreshing.
Coffee.
You need that when you talk so much.
Coffee.
Jeez.
To keep me
too late.
Yeah, to keep me awake. Because, I did jiu-jitsu this morning and my body is wrecked. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's going to be a long night tonight because we have a lot to talk about here.
Oh,
Punk
God.
And what's going to happen with Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is he going to talk, he's going to wrestle as well. That's a lot to ask of Punk right away.
Yeah.
But he's going to do it. He wants to do it. He wants to keep doing this. People are saying, oh, he doesn't want to wrestle anymore. He thought of leaving, obviously, AEW, but no, still going to wrestle. Still a lot left to do. And, still has a lot left to offer, I think. People still want to see him wrestle.
Of course. He could wrestle for another 20 years. He's 44. Look at Sting. People still love Sting. He wrestled this week. There was a moment there I was like, oh, is he okay? But there's a moment like that in every Sting match because, he's 64 years old.
Well, the big thing with that was they teased the whole Chris Jericho thing, so they gave people what, a dream kind of situation that could happen.
Yeah, which I love. So, CM Punk gives this interview to ESPN, And I'll read you some of the quotes.
We get Aubrey wrestling right now.
Yeah,
she's about to.
I kind of want to talk about, too, because what the hell is this? They got Ref Aubrey, Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe's dad wrestling in a match. Why is Ref Aubrey wrestling?
I feel like Papa Briscoe wrestled before, though, in wrestling.
Yeah, I think in Ring of Honor or something.
Yeah.
And Karen Jarrett is wrestling, formerly Karen Angle.
Well,
it's true. It's damn true.
She's there. Is there going to be much wrestling? We'll wait and see. Is she in heels? Like, we'll wait and see what happens here. Papa Briscoe looks pretty good, though. Looks in decent shape.
Karen Jarrett looks pretty good. No disrespect. Just saying. Sanjay Dutt looks pretty good. Is he wrestling in this? Oh, no, he's in a suit. That's Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Karen Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett looks pretty good, to be honest. Look at him. Beautiful. Look at his hair. He's in great shape. He's old as hell, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he knows how to work, so he can hide all that stuff.
I bet you Papa Briscoe's like younger than Jeff Jarrett, but Jeff Jarrett looks fantastic.
Well, it's funny that probably the oldest guys, like, probably in the best shape in this match.
Yeah. Well, this is a weird one. I can't believe they're going to let Ref Aubrey wrestle. And, I mean...
Well, you got to get people to watch Rampage somehow.
Like, how does she go back to refereeing after this? How does a referee go back?
We'll have to have matches. It happens. Remember that whole, like, it was him and The Rock against DX in a 3-on-2 match? Like,
yeah, but that was a joke.
Yeah. But still, he went back to refereeing DX matches. It happened.
I guess this is a joke, too. I mean, this isn't really serious, right? This is stupid. It's just filler for Rampage. It's on Rampage. All right, let's talk about CM Punk. People are here to hear us talk about CM Punk because I've got a take, John. I've got a real take on this CM Punk situation.
You're upset a lot. That's the main thing that I would start off with. You're upset because of Punk.
Right, and I thought you were talking about the Yankees. I thought you were trying to get me early. Plus, John, we have to talk at the end of the show. I got auto build finally, so I'm really progressing here in Zelda, doing well.
It's going to be a long show tonight. It's good.
So CM Punk says,
a lot.
Okay, here's some stuff. He says he was mad about Hangman's promo. And that, of course, we know about. Hangman did this promo where apparently Punk and Hangman had discussed what they were going to talk about when they went out there, and then Hangman changed the script and said some things about how you talk a big game about workers' rights. Well, you've shown the exact opposite since you got here. I love this place. I care about this place. This is my home, and Sunday at Double or Nothing, I'll be defending not the championship against you, but also All Elite Wrestling from you, right? So that whole promo that Hangman did. And apparently it was because Punk confronted him afterwards, and Hangman Page said that it was because Punk had got Colt Cabana fired, right? And
that's what he thinks.
Right. So, but Punk is saying he didn't get Colt Cabana fired, and in fact, he still worked for the company. When he, as soon as Punk showed up to AEW, he kind of disappeared from AEW, Colt Cabana, and we didn't really see him again for several months. He worked that one match with Jericho. He was supposedly doing other things and going to Ring of Honor, and, he worked for Ring of Honor and stuff like that, but he did get kind of moved away from AEW when CM Punk showed up. There is that. Whether or not CM Punk asked for that is not clear, but he claims Punk claims that he did not. And Tony Khan says that Punk had nothing to do with it, right?
Right. He said that numerous times, but that report kept coming out that it was like Punk got Cabana fired. Yeah.
For all we know, Colt Cabana, when he knew CM Punk was coming in, was like, hey, I don't really want to be around this guy. Is there any way we can do something where I move and do other things in the company and I'm not so much around Punk? This might have been Colt Cabana asking for it. Punk gets blamed. and then everybody gets mad at Punk. You know, we don't know. We don't know what the real story is, but Tony Khan and CM Punk are saying Colt Cabana's absence from AEW had nothing to do with CM Punk. Apparently, a lot of the roster felt otherwise, right? Hangman felt otherwise, and possibly the Bucks and Kenny and maybe other members of the Dark Order, right? Because Colt Cabana, I know you don't know this, John, because you don't watch Being the Elite, but Being the Elite is kind of a big show, and it's one of the reasons why AEW actually started. If not for the popularity of BTE, I don't know if AEW ever becomes a thing. I mean, you could admit that. Even though you're not a fan of Being the Elite, you understand how important it was to kind of propel the Bucks and Cody and Kenny up into the spotlight of professional wrestling. When they invaded Raw on BTE, that was BTE. That was a big deal. You know?
Well, I'll definitely admit it was, Cody, Kenny, the Bucks, that whole Elite, Bullet Club, whatever they were doing at the time. The fact that their popularity rose so high and got the attention to have a show like All In, that's what really started AEW when you think about it.
Yeah, but what got the attention of the wrestling audience was not just the matches, because you couldn't always see the matches every week. It was BTE. Right. It was that weekly show. That's what got them really over. So Colt Cabana had become a really big part of BTE in the AEW era, and then he kind of wasn't. So, and Hangman is very involved with the Dark Order and all their stuff, and you could see where Hangman might be a little bit upset, although he might be upset in the wrong direction, right? Maybe shouldn't be mad at Punk.
Well, setting up for a friend, but, maybe misguided, possibly.
Yeah. So Punk told ESPN that he has no relationship with Cabana, but that he never asked Tony Khan to take Cabana or anyone else's job. But others, including the Elite, believe Punk did indeed do that, according to sources to ESPN. Let's hear.
Sounds like Meltzer, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So here's CM Punk about the match with Hangman at Double or Nothing in 2022. And I proceed to have what I think is a garbage match because I'm trying to protect myself on stuff instead of actually just working and trying to put on the best performance I can. I'm keeping an eye out. He chopped me in the mouth one time, and I'm just like, okay, did you do that on purpose? You chipped my tooth, and I'm
viral.
Like, what?
I don't know if you've seen that clip. It's gone viral recently. The whole, chop to the throat.
Yeah. I don't know if I can show it because I might get hit with an AEW copyright gimmick.
Yeah, probably don't show it, but people can just look up Hangman chop.
Punk chop.
And
just search Punk chop and you could see it. Punk hits Hangman with a little forearm, chops him in the chest, and then Hangman goes for one of those upward chops, but chops him kind of right in the face.
Thing is, he's taller than Punk, so you don't really need to go upwards with your chop. You're taller than him.
Okay.
I get why the upward, but he did the upward.
That's kind of how he chops, though.
Right.
That's the way he throws them.
You got to adjust when size, you got to think about it. He didn't think about it, but he should have.
Do you think that looking at that, and you're a pro wrestler, and you've thrown a ton of chops and eaten a ton of chops, right?
Right.
Has anybody ever missed like that on you?
Of course.
Exactly.
Probably numerous times, sadly.
Thank you.
But that's not to say that wasn't definitely Hangman's fault, because regardless that's the way he chops, he should definitely adjust.
Okay, but does it mean that it was on purpose? That he was trying to shoot on him? Because that's what Punk is saying. Punk is like, I'm keeping my eye out. So he goes, you chipped my tooth, and I'm like, all right, should I give him a receipt? It changes the dynamic. It poisoned everything for me, and it made it all really, really ugly. And that was what set all of this off. And here we are over a year later, and ain't shit been done about it. How about you do something about it in the match? Should I give him a receipt? Of course you give him a receipt. Are you a pro wrestler? What are you talking about? If somebody hits you hard, and you're like, what do? Hit him back. You fought in the UFC twice, dude. You're telling me you're scared of Adam Page? Get a grip. I don't believe that bullshit for a minute. He's trying to get sympathy saying that shit. I'm the victim. He's playing the victim. He's not the victim. A dude fucking gave you a stiff shot. So? I tweeted today, and did you hear Roman Reigns bitching to ESPN when Kevin Owens slapped him so hard he busted his eardrum? Hell no. But you bet Roman gave him a shot back. Because that's how wrestling works. Oh, you got me with one. It may not have been on purpose. It may have been on purpose. Either way, we're going to find out when I hit you back. Because if I hit you back and then you hit me back, then okay, I guess we're fighting, and that's fine because we're supposed to be tough guy professional wrestlers. That is the pro wrestling business that I understood it to be. Apparently, it's not like that anymore. I don't understand.
Sorry to stop you here, but Aubrey just won with the figure 4.
Fuck
I don't know if you caught that or not.
I did.
I'm being legit. This is what's
I know.
Happen.
I know. Ref Aubrey just made Karen Jarrett tap out with a figure 4 leg lock to win this stupid match. I'm trying not to pay attention, John. But what?
It happened. So I just
what does he mean?
Know that happened.
Okay, yeah, it did happen. It did happen in this silly company.
Yeah.
Good God. What does he mean?
We can move on now. We go back.
What does he mean? He chopped me in the mouth one time, and I'm just like, okay, did you do that on purpose? And sure, that thought can cross your mind. That makes sense. You chipped my tooth, and I'm like, all right, should I give him a receipt? Should I give him a receipt? The interview is a written interview, Matthew. It's not a video thing. There's just quotes.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it was video, but yeah, I don't think Punk was probably available for that. It's probably just something he did on the phone or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, for exposure, I mean, this got out there pretty good, so you don't even need video in a sense. This got around the internet enough, so I think more than enough people read about it. Right. And I don't think a lot of people like to read, but most people read this, I think.
People don't like to read?
No, people, like, come on, let's face it. That's why we have Twitter. Like, you just have a little short little thing. That's it. But
that's
people
a good
actually
question.
Read this.
Did Earl Hebner ever win a match?
Yeah, I beat Nick Patrick, didn't he, at the Invasion pay-per-view?
Okay, so he beat a referee. I mean, referee versus referee. That's not really fair.
I mean, it's a win.
I guess. But should he have given him a receipt and just shut the fuck up about it?
See, you're going down a slippery road when you do that, because then it's like it was an accident, but was it an accident? So the main problem here is the trust has been lost right away because of what happened before the match even started. I can understand why Punk questioned even doing this match, because how can you wrestle someone that you can't trust? And then once you get a stiff shot like that, you're like, oh, is he trying to do that on purpose or not? Then your paranoia gets to you, and it's like, is this work? Is this not a work? And at the same time, you're having the match, so I get where Punk is coming from with this, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, if you're going to do that, I'm going to take a shot on you. But then once you start doing that, the match kind of falls apart then, because then you're not working each other anymore. And you're on pay-per-view, live, main event too.
Yeah.
So do you want to mess up the biggest show AEW had done at that point? That's tough. That's a tough spot.
I guess. But Hangman's willing to go there, apparently. So, just give him one back. Like, if Hangman hits him in the face with a chop, he knows he did it. He knows something's going to come back to him. Something's got to come back to him. Otherwise, how do you respect the guy? Come on, man.
Well, here's another thing with the whole, the way wrestlers are now. It's like, you can't be like it was in the old days, because that's how it was more in the old days, right? Like, you get stiff shot, you get the receipt back. But now it's like, you stiffed me, you hurt me. There's all a bunch of complaining, and it's like, it doesn't matter how it happened. You shouldn't do that. It's a work no matter what. So that's another problem, just how wrestling's changed. And Hangman's that whole new school kind of thing where it's like, we're new wrestling the way we want to do it, and this is the way he wants to do it, maybe. So Punk doesn't know if it's working or it's not working. I can see where he's messed up on this. And what's the right thing to do?
Okay.
It's not easy. It's a tough situation there.
Yeah.
I get the frustration, and why probably Hangman and Punk should probably never wrestle each other ever again.
Yeah, it looks like
it's
they
not
won't.
Worth it.
Unless
it's not worth it for that match. No.
I mean, over time, things might settle down.
I don't think it's worth it. Kenny and Punk, yeah, maybe even the Bucks, but I don't feel like this is worth it. It just feels like there's too much bad blood. And the fact that Punk, he states it later in the interview, like he tried to talk to people and then he got shut down by lawyers. It's like,
yes.
Why even bother?
He says that he tried to reach out to Kenny and the Bucks and was told by lawyers not to contact them. But he also says he's not sure if it's coming from them or from a third party, which would be, I guess, AEW intervening. But who's he trying to communicate with? Like, he doesn't have the cell phone number of Matt Jackson to text him and say, hey, man, maybe we should have a chat before we all go back to work. No? I don't understand what, like, him saying that, John, and you take it at face value, you're like, oh, well, Kenny and the Bucks are just sending their lawyers. They don't want to deal with Punk. But how is Punk trying to communicate with these guys where he's hearing back from a lawyer? Like, who's he talking to? I'd like to talk to Kenny and the Bucks. Okay. Who's he saying that to? It doesn't really add up. Like, that whole part of the ESPN article, it's like, okay, he doesn't have Kenny's number, Matt's number, Nick's number. He has nobody's number. He doesn't have Brandon Cutler's phone number. He can't call any of these guys directly. He's got to call some sort of intermediary to be like, I'd like to speak with these men. And then he hears back from lawyers that it's not a good idea. What? What is that?
Well, again, this is me just guessing here, but I would think there'd be some sort of talent relations representative, like kind of mediating the whole issue between them, right? And I would think that would be the person, whoever that is, doing that. So
I guess
that's what I'm thinking, how it's working.
CM Punk continues, says his relationship with Tony Khan now is great. He says, the first thing I said to Tony when I sat down with him and spoke to him after the scrum there, the media scrum where he buried everybody. He says, the first thing I sat down with him and spoke to him after. It was amazing. It was entertaining, but like not very professional to continue working with these guys, right? That's kind of what led to more things spilling over.
The fact that happened on our 600th episode, like, wow, it made that episode so much special because
crazy.
Of that.
So, man, he said to Tony, man, I'm really sorry I put you in that position. I apologize for the scrum, but when you've watched that scrum, you're looking at a very, very frustrated guy who had told people that's not the first time he heard all that. It's not the first time lawyers were told all that, and I was just looking for something to be done, and nothing got done. So if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And I just didn't approach it in the right manner, but tension was high. I was very, very pissed. I pretty much knew that I had just injured myself again. I was hurt, and I was disappointed. Yeah, it's very easy for me to say I regret that, and I handled it the wrong way 100%. So it's very easy for him to say. Is it, though? Because he also says that's not the first time he heard all that. Tony Khan, that's not the first time Tony Khan heard all that.
Right.
Okay? And he also says it's not the first time lawyers were told all that.
That's very interesting. So they were already like a separation or something. There was already probably a big discussion or big like falling out. So
what's that?
That's even more eye-opening.
Yeah.
There's more to the story that hasn't been completely revealed, obviously.
Well, that's it. There's that part, and I was like, well, what do you mean? So after the match with Hangman, like, AEW Legal got involved? Like, what does that mean? There's a lot of stuff here that's kind of vague, and it makes me think, yeah, this is half weird, half real, half not. Half work, half shoot, I think.
Well, possibly, too. And possibly he's not allowed to comment on everything, right?
Sure. He also says, I don't think what happened was a big deal about the whole brawl-out situation. This has happened in the last 10 months in hockey, basketball, baseball, just about every sport, and it's covered and it's gone the next day. I think because I've injured my tricep and I've been out for so long, I think it's been exacerbated. I think it's been exacerbated by people spreading lies about the whole thing, and when, in reality, my attitude is, well, shit happens.
I felt the same way. Like, when this first happened, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just, they had to get stripped of the titles. Okay, fine. But you just move on from it. That's it. But we haven't moved on from it. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
In wrestling, people hold grudges, sadly. Fans too.
Punk says here, now we all get to roll in the fucking mud, and that never should have happened and has never been course corrected. So I understand people want to say that, oh man, Punk is a dick. Well, yeah, because I'm defending myself and I'll always defend myself. I'm open to have a full-blown fucking sit-down powwow discussion with everybody about it, but it hasn't happened yet, and it's not because of my lack of trying.
Well, that's really saving face right there, a lot there. It's just saying, like, I've tried, and nothing's happened. So that's kind of him, like, saying, no, it's on them when he's saying that.
And he's going to get a live microphone, and he's going to get to wrestle on Collision tomorrow night. So that'll be interesting.
Well, he'll start and end the show, more than likely. I mean, it is his show, really, right? I mean, they made 2 hours pretty much for Punk.
Mm-hmm. This interview had buzz before it even dropped. Like, I think Wade Keller reported, like, oh, there's an interview with Punk, and people aren't going to be happy with some of the things he said. Yeah.
I don't think it was that bad, but
I don't think it was that bad, but I can't imagine Hangman is that pleased that all that's been aired out.
No, but I imagine they've all had these talks already, obviously, right? They've had a lot of things with lawyers involved, so I mean, they're not happy, but this is what's been going on. It's just more public knowledge now a little bit, so stuff like that's going to happen in wrestling. Stuff eventually comes out. And the big thing is they're going to be in Chicago for Dynamite on Wednesday. But I guess because the Elite got taken out on Dynamite, you probably won't see them in Chicago, more than likely.
No, I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep them out of Chicago. No reason to do that. If they're separating them, separate them. If this is all real and they're all really mad, keep them separated, I guess. It's too bad because everybody knows that one of the biggest matches you could do in pro wrestling, one of the biggest drawing matches, would be FTR and Punk versus all of the Elite, Kenny and the Bucks. It'd be massive. I think Punk versus Hangman now would be massive. Punk versus Kenny. You know, any number of combinations that you could do there, but it seems like it's never going to happen. And even FTR and the Bucks seem to have got dragged into this, and I don't know if they're going to ever wrestle again. Right? That seems to be kind of a byproduct of the whole situation. They're kind of on separate sides of the whole issue, and there are, FTR seems firmly on that Collision show now, and the Bucks aren't going there.
Well, good luck being tag champions then, if that's what's going to happen. I guess they'll just have to focus on being trios champions now, Bucks.
I guess.
Well, them and Hangman got a win, so they're one step closer there.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they going after that? Is that a thing?
Well, it looks like to me it's, the BCC against them for a while. I wouldn't be surprised that goes all the way to All In, more than likely. And if anything, Punk against Joe, one-on-one, probably that's going to be the match. Which is still good.
Yeah. It's a good match. I'm not arguing with that.
You still do a lot with Punk without doing that. Punk against Bryan would be good too, against Danielson.
Yes. I would love that.
Still a lot of good matches that can be done.
Yeah. If the Bucks, if the Elite crew are the only guys that can't wrestle CM Punk, fine. There's plenty to do without those guys. Right? Plenty to do for CM Punk and plenty to do for the Elite. If the only guy they got to stay away from is CM Punk, I mean, there's tons of talent in AEW, right? Like Punk versus Kenta at Forbidden Door would be pretty cool. What are we watching now? What is this? Bandito versus Takeshita?
That's right, with Don Callis at ringside, it looks like.
Yeah. Takeshita was in there at the end. The end of Dynamite this week was a whole big mess. You mentioned the match. It was Hangman and the Bucks beating Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Jon Moxley. They got the win over the BCC. Hangman hitting the buckshot lariat on Wheeler for the pin. Bryan Danielson on commentary. Again, always great. He was pretty pissed after the match. Not so happy with Wheeler losing,
He was okay with the ending, though, afterwards, after the beatdown.
Yeah. Claudio and Moxley attacked the Elite after the match. Eddie Kingston came out and and started attacking Claudio. I guess Eddie Kingston's been gone for a while. He's been hurt or something.
The last time he wrestled, I think it was against Claudio. He's shooting for the ROH title.
Okay. Is he in worse shape now?
I mean, he just came back from injury, right? So
sometimes people come back more jacked from injury.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he is, though. I mean,
what was the injury?
I want to say it's his leg, because it's always a leg with him.
Could have been arm day every day, brother. What are you doing?
Could have been arm day.
No? Am I wrong? It's an upper body business. God damn, pal.
I feel no. You're thinking about how it used to be. Now it's just about the work. It's just about what you do at the work rate. That's it. That's the main thing.
But
the smaller guys beat the bigger guys. I don't know if you've noticed that now.
Not every time.
Well, it happens more often than not now, actually, if you see it.
I'll tell you, seeing LA Knight on SmackDown, that guy is a breath of fresh air. He just looks like wrestling should look. You know, like he just looks like a wrestler. He lost. Yeah, he lost, but I think he might win Money in the Bank, so we'll get to LA Knight. But I just think he's fantastic. He's so thick, man. He's fucking huge. And he's got swagger and confidence. I believe everything he does.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good.
Yeah.
Will they use him all the way is a good question.
I don't know. I think he'd be a solid opponent for Roman Reigns. Not a win, not a guy to beat him, but honestly, he'd also be a solid champion on Raw.
Yeah, I can see that, sure.
So we'll see. Anyways, Hangman and the Elite beat the guys, and then Eddie Kingston came out, attacked Claudio, and then Moxley was mad because Moxley and Claudio are buddies, and he kind of came face-to-face with Eddie because Eddie's his buddy, so there was like some confusion there. And Matt Jackson then attacked Jon Moxley, and then Eddie told the Young Bucks to stop attacking Jon Moxley, and then Moxley got mad again and got an Eddie Kingston's face, and then Takeshita came out and dropped Eddie Kingston and Nick Jackson, and then Kenny Omega came out and attacked Takeshita, and then Hangman and the Bucks took out the Blackpool Combat Club guys with super kicks, and then Kenny hit the V-trigger on Takeshita, but then Will Ospreay showed up. Like, this was just a cavalcade of dudes. Will Ospreay shows up from behind and hits Kenny, and then Ospreay hits his hidden blade and the Stormbreaker on Kenny, and Ospreay standing tall at the end of the show. So it's just like they had a match, and then after the match, it was pandemonium. Yeah, the match was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was, well, I mean, I have to say Dynamite was pretty good this week.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they started stronger than they ended, though. But not to say the main event was bad, but
yeah,
I mean, the first match was fantastic.
Yeah.
Adam Cole MJF, that was really good. And I thought the whole Sting Jericho confrontation, I'm like, that's what I've been wanting for a long time. I'm glad we're going to get it. More than likely, I would think, all in, you do Jericho and somebody. It's probably going to be Daniel Garcia against like Darby and Sting.
Jericho and
maybe
Garcia.
Hager, actually.
Maybe Jericho and Sammy. Hager. What about Sammy? He's forcing Sammy to team with him. Away.
Yeah, at some point, maybe. It won't be against Sting because Sting wrestled this week. Sting's not going to wrestle next week. Because isn't it next week that he's supposed to team with Jericho, Sammy?
Yeah, I
Isn't
thought
that
it was.
Jericho said?
Yeah, but I thought it was to face Sting, maybe.
That's it. The opponents weren't exactly clear that it was going to be Sting and Darby. Like, potentially, but wasn't 100% sure they made that official, though. And they never saw a graphic for that match. So I don't know if I think maybe they want to do it, but I don't think that's official.
That'd be pretty sweet.
To see it.
Yeah.
But Sting wrestling 2 weeks in a row? Highly unlikely.
Yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, I thought Dynamite was very good this week. Very good. And I'm excited for Forbidden Door. I think it's going to be...
Except the women's match. That women's match was very bad. And I like Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today going. But that match was bad. Like, her and Sky Blue, oof. The forearms were just atrocious. And there was multiple moments of this too. Very bad. Finish was bad. Like, just a lot of bad.
Yeah, it was not great. Sky Blue is pretty inexperienced, right? It shows.
They try a lot to like push her like crazy, and I think she's well liked. You could tell, like, I think people like her a lot because they mention her, and I think she's easy to wrestle. I think for a lot of people because she has her move set, and you could tell she's not very intense with her stuff. So I don't think a lot of it hurts. She's very passive with her stuff, so it's easy to do. It's, she follows, she listens. So I think people like to wrestle her, but I don't know if they're actually watching the matches when they do this. They're just experiencing the match. But if you watch the match, it's like, it doesn't seem like it's a very good match.
Yeah. It did not work for me. Toni Storm getting the win over Sky Blue. They even had to involve Sky Blue's mom, who was ringside, and they spray painted her face during the match. It was just a mess.
That may have been one of the worst, because sprays the mom in the face. And what does she do? She does one of the worst suicide dives I've seen in a long time. And then just looks at her mom and then turns away. Like, doesn't, go up to her, are you okay or anything? Like, nothing like that.
Yep.
I mean, again, she's inexperienced. She's robotic.
Exactly. But that moment where wrestling brain has to click in and go, okay, my mom just got spray painted in the face. I know it's a work, but I have to go check on her and express real concern. There was none of that. There was like looking over at her like, she all right? It's like, oh, I guess her and her mom aren't close. That was the impression I got. I was like, oh, I guess she doesn't really like her mom. Because if my mom just got spray painted in the face, I'd be like, are you okay? What the fuck? I'm going to kill that bitch. I'm like, I don't. And there was none of that from Sky Blue. Like there was no intensity afterwards. There was no like, oh my God. It was a moment in the match. It was a spot in the match, and she did nothing with it. Nothing. And that's inexperience, and it takes away so much. So much, because it could have been something, and it was nothing. It was actually less than nothing, because it made you go, what? Bad.
Well, it's just they didn't plan it, so she's not going to think of that. So that's why that didn't happen, because she's not going to think of it. So, yeah, it wasn't great, but at least the rest of the show was better.
Yeah, Toni beat Sky Blue with a Texas Cloverleaf submission. Ruby Soho was with her. Saraya was not. I don't know where she was. They didn't really explain where she was.
There's some sort of issue. There's some sort of issue going on there.
Really?
The fact that she wasn't there. The fact that there was like a paper cutout, whatever. Yeah. It's like she should have been there, but she wasn't. Something's up with that. Probably not a big deal, but I don't know if it's a visa thing maybe or something, or scheduling issue, but something, like, she should have been there.
Okay. Yeah. She was not. Ruby and Toni attacked Sky after the match, and Willow Nightingale chased them off to make the save. So I think we're maybe teasing a Willow Nightingale versus Toni Storm match at Forbidden Door?
I believe it's happening on Dynamite, I think, next week. Didn't they announce that? Or did they announce that for Collision, actually? Might want to check that. I think it's announced for Collision, actually.
No, Toni Storm and Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue tag team match set for Collision.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So there's that. I thought match of the night, though, for sure was MJF and Adam Cole, the time limit draw to open up the show. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, that was the perfect ending, too, because it's like, how could MJF lose? How can Adam Cole lose? Well, just do the whole, 1-2, ring the bell.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best way to do it.
And the way they finished it, too, with Cole, perfect timing. 1, 2, and then the bell rang. Like, they just had it timed to perfection.
Yeah.
Great finish. And, if Adam Cole had won, he would have got a title shot, but he didn't win. But MJF didn't win either. So I guess we'll have another match or two between MJF and Adam Cole. But a really good finish there. Cole at one point hit a super kick on MJF, and MJF came up bleeding, like he really got cut in his mouth. That was pretty good. You don't see that very often.
You get cuts, it happens, though.
I know, but the timing on that was perfect. He made that super kick look like devastating. It was really good. He might have just bit his cheek on the kick or whatever, but the fact that there was blood right after the kick was like, ooh, It looked good. It looked really good. MJF going into the crowd, tossing popcorn at people, and then flipping the glasses and hat off that guy. That wasn't a plant either. He went to flip his hat, but the glasses went with him, and I was like, that guy, what if he breaks the guy's glasses and he can't see anymore? Like, it was kind of a risky maneuver. It worked out. The fans seemed okay with it. Like, it was, part of the show, but I was like, whoops.
Yeah. Again, that's MJF, pushing that line all the time,
Yeah.
Same thing with the kid. He's always seeing what he can get away with, kind of thing, and that could be a rough situation. Thankfully, it wasn't, because thankfully that guy seemed to be in a pleasant mood after that, and probably loved it a lot. But maybe some people wouldn't love that a lot. So
right. He he takes risks in the crowd. He takes risks on the microphone. He takes risks in the ring, and that's why he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the game today. That's why he's the AEW World Champion. That's why he is the future of professional wrestling, because he is the total package. He's everything that you would want in a professional wrestler. Everything. Perfect. And every match he has is great. Every promo he does. I mean, I don't know if every promo he does is great, but I'd say most of the promos he does are pretty damn good, and some of them are, border on legendary. He is just so fantastic in every aspect of professional wrestling. And, he went away for a little bit. He came back like more jacked and whatever, and Adam Cole said, "Oh, you're not natural." But, if he is or he isn't, I don't really care. I just want him to look the part, and he really does look the part, and he wrestles the part. Like, sometimes if you're more jacked and you have more muscles, it's going to make you a better wrestler because you can do better lifts. And, I don't know if a little bit of steroids might not be that bad. Just saying, for some wrestlers. Because I'm not saying he's on steroids. Adam Cole said that. I'm just saying that for wrestling and for athletics in general, there's a reason why people take them. There's a reason. They don't take them because they're not helpful, Well,
looking the part, it helps sell the package, right? The fact that you're a world champion, the fact that you look like someone that'd be difficult to deal with, the fact that, it seems like he works out.
Yeah.
Like, depending if it's like what you said. I think, to me, he's not like super jacked, so I don't think he's taking really anything out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's in better shape than he used to be. I think he just upped his workout regimen. That's about it. And he has enough people around him that, are in great shape. So I don't think it's that hard to find out those ideas to add to your workouts. So.
Yeah. But, if I see a guy walking onto the mats looking like MJF all jacked and shit, I'll be like, oh, man, this is going to be a difficult role, right? But Adam Cole might walk on the mat and I'd be like, he doesn't look that impressive. But Adam Cole might be the black belt and MJF might be the white belt. That happens all the time where you see a guy who's just an absolute killer who may not look the part, but he is the part. And Adam Cole, he may not look the part like MJF does, and MJF talked about it in his promo, but when it comes down to match time, he's delivering. And I thought that match, both guys, very much delivered on Dynamite. I was really happy with it. But as a world champion, I do like when they're, they're putting effort into the look. You got to put a little effort into the look. It's part of the gimmick. It's part of the show.
I think it's fair to say that was Adam Cole's best match in AEW.
Ooh, I don't know. His Hangman match I thought was really good. When he wrestled him for the belt, I want to say. Wasn't it for the belt? I feel like that was really good.
Okay. Well, I like the finish to this better, though. I love the whole, it looked like he was going to beat him, but then that belt, I don't know, that's a really good finish. The timing of this was really well done.
Yeah.
I feel like the Hangman one was just it's finish, and then kick out, but then a finish. I felt like it just kind of ended with Hangman. Not that it was a bad match, but I just felt this finish was perfect, exactly what they needed, and executed to perfection.
I really liked it, and I love how MJF is delivering every time. Every single time. This man is on fire. How is he this good? You know? It's just crazy. So good.
Well, he's very gifted.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan, man. I love it. I love it.
Hopefully we'll see him tomorrow on Collision, too. He could be on Collision.
Yes. Mazel tov to MJF on another great performance this week. CM Punk promo played, which was really cool to see on Dynamite right after the match. He's got scores to settle, and things to do. And then we had Renee interviewing Sammy Guevara and talked about how he lost the match, the world title, but he's going to have a daughter, and he's very excited about that. And then Darby Allin comes out and congratulates him. And he says that it sounds like the people are starting to love Sammy again and wants to know if he's going to leave the Jericho Society and, you know, basically turn good guy. And then Chris Jericho comes out and tells Darby to mind his own business. And Jericho says, you know, Sammy, you never called me once during the 3 months where you were chasing the world title. I could have helped you. I could have given you some advice. And maybe you'd be standing here as AEW champion. And Sammy's like, well, how come you didn't call me? Because if you did call me, maybe you wouldn't have lost to Adam Cole twice. And it's like, hey, man. When Sammy said that, I was like, you just seem like the petulant kid again. Because it's like, well, Jericho's actually kind of been to the mountaintop. He could give you advice.
When did Sammy beat Adam Cole? I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Whatever. Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
No, it was weird. Sammy just trying to be, you know, snarky. But I was like, well, take it easy, man. That's Jericho you're talking about. And then Jericho's like, I think you're having delusions of grandeur because of your brush with the main event, and I'd like an apology. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Correct. Who the hell do you think you are? It's Chris Jericho. Sammy says, I'm not apologizing for shit. Again, like, how is this a babyface? It just seems petulant. Jericho wants a tag team match next week with Sammy as his partner so that he can remind Sammy who his boss is. And then Darby says, you know, Jericho, you call yourself a wizard, but in the ring, the magic is gone. And I was like, nice rehearsed line there, Darby. That was quite
It got a good reaction from the crowd. The crowd ate that up.
Yeah, but you know what he's saying. I mean, it's just mean. I mean, it's true, but it's mean. It's mean to say. And then it's like, here comes your buddy Sting. And it's like, Darby, hey, man. You're saying this about Jericho? Have you seen your father, your wrestling father, Sting? He's not quite the same as he used to be. You see him stumble around the ring when he's trying to hit the Stinger Splash. Did you see him take that buckle? Did you see him get whipped in the corner and try to take the buckle and get lost along the way and fall into the ropes? Did you see that? I haven't seen Jericho do that recently. Sting couldn't get thrown into the corner. He got lost along the way. Did you see that?
I saw it. You know, it's a brawl. Like, a lot of craziness happens.
Dude, that looked like Undertaker Triple H in Saudi Arabia. I think it was it Saudi Arabia or Australia? Where they had the match with Shawn? Yeah, where Undertaker and Triple H are both whipping each other into the barricade, and neither guy knows who's getting whipped into the barricade, so they both just gotta stumble into the barricade, like they double whipped each other, and they give each other that look like, we are too old for this. This is bad. Like, they give each other that look. They know in the moment, that was horrible, and we have fucked up. We are done, guys. We need to go home.
To be fair, Triple H tore his pec. So
and I think Taker was hurt too. Everybody was hurt in that match, I think. I think Taker got hurt too. So Kane got hurt. Everybody was like way too old. And
Kane
was
lost
like,
his
whoop.
mask, I think. Kane lost his mask. That's what happened.
That's the best match ever. It's the greatest match of all time. It's the best. Just
Shawn
for
Michaels'
that
last match, yeah.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, Bald Michaels. Bald Michaels had a match. That was crazy. Shouldn't wrestle bald, Shawn. The magic is gone. You talk about magic is gone. Guy lost his hair and it was over.
Made millions though.
Oh my God. The double barricade was so good. So good.
Yeah. It was. See, that's what's great about Saudi Arabia for shows, for matches like that they gave us. Gotta love
But
that.
that's what Sting looked like this week. That's what he looked like. It was bad.
That was
64
that
years
bad.
old. Come on, man. It was pretty bad. So Sting came out and had a face-off with Chris Jericho, and Jericho pointed his bat at Sting, and then Sting pointed his bat at Jericho, and then I think they hit bats or something, and it made like a ding-ding.
No, Sting hit his bat. Like,
yeah.
Jericho like hit, but didn't do much. Sting actually hit him and knocked it out.
Right, but it made like a clinging sound. I didn't know Sting's bat was aluminum. I thought they had wood bats. Apparently, Jericho and Sting's bats are both aluminum. I was assuming they were wood. I don't know why. I was surprised at the sound. I was like, wait a second, that was a ding. That wasn't a tuck. That was something else.
I feel like Sting's hit a wall before. Yeah, you heard ding, not the just cracking. Like,
I was surprised. I thought it was a wood bat. I feel like WCW was a wood bat. No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you have to look back on it. Maybe some episodes they did, and they got kind of cheap with it, but I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Because he used to break the bat on people, didn't he? Maybe not. Maybe that's something else.
I think it's something else, yeah.
You can't really break an aluminum bat, but a wood bat, you could gimmick that. You could cut a slice in it and hit somebody with it. I mean, a wood bat is better for wrestling.
I remember Hacksaw used to use, like, fake 2x4s, right? I don't remember that in WCW. That's when things got really... That's when WCW went really bad in the 2000s, when he had the fake 2x4s.
Like, it wasn't
just
wood?
It was like some sort of rubbers. It would just bend. It was like weird.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah. That was the dark days of WCW.
Yeah. There weren't many light days, but hey. So we had a match. It was Orange Cassidy, Keith Lee, Sting, and Darby Allin beating Brian Cage, Swerve Strickland, and the Gates of Agony, with Sting getting the pinfall on Brian Cage after a Scorpion Death Drop and the Orange Punch. Brian Cage, for some reason, was dressed like old school Sting, even though he was against him. I have no idea why. He was like paying tribute to him in some weird way.
Well, they wrestled each other before. Remember, like, Team Taz against... remember that match they had?
No. They referenced it on the broadcast, but I had no real...
It was Sting's first match back. Remember? It was a cinematic match. It was Ricky Starks and Brian Cage against Darby Allin and Sting. I want to say it was like a Double or Nothing maybe 2 years ago.
I don't know. I'm trying to forget all those cinematic matches during the pandemic era. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm starting to remember that. Sting did some weird spot on like a ledge.
Well, Darby did something like crazy. It was on like a ladder, and like the glass like fell on him. That was crazy. I don't remember that part. Darby is like, that was insane.
I don't recall that. I watch too much wrestling. I can't remember all the details. Certain things I just have no memory of, Plus the drugs and everything. Anyways,
all the horrible memories of wrestling.
I just didn't think Sting looked very good in this match. He looked kind of rough.
I didn't think he was that bad.
It wasn't terrible, but come on, just the way he got tossed in the buckle, and he couldn't find the corner, and he fell into the ropes. It looked like he was just going to crumple. I felt bad.
I didn't think it was the end of the world. I've seen a lot worse.
All right.
Definitely, we watch so much bad women's wrestling every week. Like, there's much worse than that.
You know what was worse than that? Wardlow and Jake Hager. Because at least with the Sting match and Darby Allin and people are in there, I'm interested. Wardlow and Jake Hager, I'm like, get this over with. Get this out of here. Wardlow beat Hager, obviously. It's like, what, Hager? Hager's never wrestling. He's not real.
Right, but I'm happy with what this led to. Luchasaurus now gets the match on Collision now. So we're getting that's a pretty big match.
Right. And then Arn Anderson was shown bleeding.
Yeah, they threw him down the stairs apparently or something, yeah.
Yeah, they beat up Arn Anderson, Christian, and Luchasaurus. So yeah, it'd be Luchasaurus versus Wardlow on Collision. No, wait. You're happy about this?
Yeah, I think this should be a good match.
What?
Well, you don't think that'd be a good match? Two big guys like that? Like, I think it'll be all right.
Luchasaurus and good match. I haven't heard that one in a while. I'm surprised.
His last match I thought was really good. Him and Jungle Boy in that cage match, that was very good. I thought he was getting much better. Ever since he turned heel, Luchasaurus, he's gotten a lot better. I feel like in tags he wasn't as good, but in singles as a heel, it was working. And that cage match with Jungle Boy was very good.
I don't care about anything he does. I don't care about anything Wardlow does. I'm so disinterested in those guys. I think maybe that's it. I just don't care. Everything they do, I'm like, yeah, this is corny. I like Christian, but everything else, it's like, nah.
Well, I guess you'll be watching that part, but I'm interested in that one.
I might watch it. We'll see. So Sonata cut a promo issuing an IWGP World Title Open Challenge, and the Jungle Boy accepted the Open Challenge. So it'll be Jungle Boy versus Sonata at Forbidden Door. Hiroshi Tanahashi cut a backstage promo wanting a match with MJF for the World Title at Forbidden Door. And MJF says he doesn't feel like giving a title shot to some rando from some rinky-dink indie in Japan. And he says no to the match. Rando from a rinky-dink indie in Japan. Hiroshi Tanahashi from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Fantastic. And then...
MJF.
I mean, he's great, right? He's great. A rando.
And then Jungle Boy.
I wonder if he got that from Roman Roy. Roman Roy calling Kendall's kids. One is a buy-in, some rando buy-in, and the other's a... Anyways, Succession finale was so good. Daniel Garcia, Shibata, they set up a tag team match, right? Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia versus Orange Cassidy and Shibata next week on Dynamite. That's kind of cool.
That's not bad for Forbidden Door. I mean, if you're really into Forbidden Door, that's a big match for you.
Yeah, just seeing Shibata on Dynamite is cool. And of course, next week will be the build-in, like the final week before Forbidden Door. We'll be doing the Forbidden Door preview next week on the show, and we'll also be doing the Forbidden Door post-show after Forbidden Door next Sunday, the 25th of June. The Ass Boys versus the Hardys set for Dynamite next week. Matt and Jeff versus the Gun guys. Orange Cassidy and Shibata versus Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. set for Dynamite next week. Toni Storm and Ruby Soho against Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue set for Collision tomorrow night. Like Johnny said, Luchasaurus versus Wardlow for TNT title set for Collision tomorrow. Andrade will make his return and take on Buddy Matthews.
That should be good.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Miro is going to have a match. Miro is going to return too. He's going to be on Collision tomorrow night. That's pretty cool.
Like Shoddy Lee Johnson or something like that. Like it's his job.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to be there. Should be good.
Yeah, it's nice to see Miro again. It'll be nice, yeah. Hopefully it leads to something. It's not just him just squashing somebody. Hopefully it's more than just that.
And they did a lot for Forbidden Door. They set up a lot. I'm excited about it. I think the pay-per-view looks fantastic. We've got Okada versus Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, Sonata versus Jungle Boy, MJF versus Tanahashi, and likely several other matches. Zack Sabre Jr., Orange Cassidy, other stuff. CM Punk versus Kenta or Naito would be amazing. Give me Punk Naito, please.
Naito just on the show would be great. And hopefully it happens.
But... I don't know. They haven't announced him yet, so I wonder if he'll be on the show. Is Suzuki going to be on the show? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Didn't he... Was he on the show last time? Was he in the Jericho match last time? I feel like he was.
I think so. Yeah, who was that last year's Double or Nothing that hasn't shown up yet?
You mean Forbidden Door?
Yeah, what did I say? Double or Nothing? Yeah, Forbidden Door.
I think there was like 9 matches last year.
Suzuki and Jericho and Guevara beat Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta last year. FTR beat Great-O-Khan and Jeff Cobb and Roppongi Vice in a triple threat. Pac beat Clark Connors, Miro, and Malachi Black. Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi. Oh, where's Shingo? Beat El Phantasmo and the Young Bucks. Thunder Rosa.
Was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. El Phantasmo would be great to see again. Thunder Rosa beat Tony Storm. Will Ospreay beat Orange Cassidy. Claudio Castagnoli beat Zack Sabre Jr. That was really good. Jay White beat Hangman Page, Kazuchika Okada, and Adam Cole, which was great. And Moxley beat Tanahashi, which was also pretty good. That pay-per-view was great last year. I think it'll be even better this year, based only on the fact that they have Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. And I know you're going to say, well, what about Kenny and Ospreay? Yeah, fine. They have Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. Once in a lifetime. You will never see this match again, I don't think. And you've never seen it before. And it's two of the greatest wrestlers that have ever walked into a ring. This is the dream match of all dream matches. Okada, Danielson? Like, I can't believe it. I cannot believe that they're doing this. They don't have to build shit. They don't have to do anything. Just give me the names. Okada, Danielson. Cool. I'm there. I'm down. I'm buying the pay-per-view. I'm in. What? I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait. I can't wait for that match. Everything else is like cool, fine, but it's just appetizer for the real main event. That's so good. Good job, AEW. Thank you for giving me this match.
It would be nice to just see Okada be on Dynamite, some sort of confrontation, anything. Ospreay did it this week, and he also showed up on Rampage, so I just feel there's more hype for that match than there is Danielson Okada. Not to say that it's not special, but there's more hype for the title match.
They could do it on Collision the night before in Toronto. I don't think Okada's going to go to Chicago, but they'll get him in Toronto for the weekend, so he'll probably appear the night before on the Collision show with Forbidden Door on Sunday. That's my guess.
See, that's going to be interesting how, like, Collision, like, and then the day after you get a pay-per-view. Wow, that's a lot. It's going to be a lot of wrestling for a weekend.
Dynamite Wednesday, Rampage Friday, Collision Saturday, pay-per-view Sunday. They're doing so much. It's like, why? It's too much. Thank you very much, but what are you gonna do?
Just wait until we get like a Collision. How's that gonna work? They're gonna do they have to do Collision in the UK or something, because that's gonna be interesting.
What do you mean?
How you're gonna have everyone just come over because you have to wrestle? That's, as we've seen with what's happened with Money in the Bank. That show has to be at like 3 p.m. right, Eastern time.
Yeah.
So you would think anyone who's going to be on All In, like Collision, should be at least in the UK too as well, right?
Right.
You're not going to fly them the night. I mean, you could, but that'd be rough. You have them in the States.
Oh yeah, All In is that stadium show they're doing in England, right?
Right.
Right. That'll be in the afternoon. That'll be nice. I like afternoon pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, it'll end at 9 o'clock. It'll be good.
Fantastic. 9 o'clock. What? What? Start at 2, end at 9. Typical AEW 7-hour pay-per-view. All right. Well, that's cool. A lot of crazy AEW stuff going on, and of course it'll continue tomorrow night with CM Punk and Collision. And I guess to hear our thoughts about Collision, keep following us on Twitter and the Instagrams, and we'll talk about it next week on the show.
Yeah, you all digest it. I'm sure a lot will come out after Collision, and then the day after Collision there'll be more discourse. So yeah, we'll be able to talk about it again and rehash everything again that happens.
Cool.
And then get you set for the following week as we go into Forbidden Door. It continues again.
Oh, and it just keeps on going. Just a cog in the wheel. Okay, biggest news of the week, I think, in WWE is not the Usos turning on the Bloodline.
Really? Whoa.
Yep.
That to me was, but okay.
It is the fact
What was bigger than that?
That at Money in the Bank, we will be getting, for the first time ever, and hopefully the last time ever, Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio.
I had a feeling you'd be mad about this because I know you wanted Brock and Cody at Money in the Bank. But
I find it comical. It's like, what? They're doing what now? Oh, boy. Oh, well. It makes sense in a way because I've compared Dominic to Cody. You know?
Yeah, I don't see it really, but okay.
Well, just when Cody came in, he didn't look the part. He was super young. He wasn't taken seriously. He was only there because he was Dusty's kid. He was super green. Come on. The comparisons are endless with Dominic. Like, the only difference between Cody and Dominic is Cody's partner was Hardcore Holly and Dominic's partner was his dad. But early days WWE, Cody Rhodes with Hardcore Holly, I remember watching him and doing this show and saying, this guy, come on, man. Like, he's just not believable. He looks like a child out there. He doesn't look like he belongs. And Dominic is kind of the same way. But, like I said with Dominic, look how far Cody has come. Dominic could be that in 10 years. Who knows?
Oh, okay. I mean,
you never know.
All fairness to Cody, though, I don't feel his arms are ever that skinny. Like, to me, like, Dominic gets skinnier every week. Like, he looks more and more pathetic. Maybe it's because, like, he's super pale now and looks much worse, but wow, like, no muscle really whatsoever on his arms. Smallest arms in wrestling.
I guess. I'm looking at pictures of Cody and Hardcore Holly. He's bigger than I remember him, I guess. Not as big as Hardcore.
No, of course not. I mean, he was small compared to everyone else, but compared to Dominic, I mean, Dominic looks anorexic compared to Cody.
Whoops.
Oh, now we're just like doing weird symbols here.
No, I was trying to give you a shot of Cody and Hardcore, and I didn't. Wasn't ready.
It's all right. It's all right. I remember what Cody looked like. I remember what Hardcore looked like. Hardcore always looked great.
Yeah. There they are.
Yeah, see, Cody, much more muscle than Dominic.
Yeah. I just remember at the time he looked... I don't know.
Compared to Hardcore, he looks small, of course.
I think compared to everybody else, too. Compared to everybody else, he looked small. Because it was a bigger era. But everyone back then...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Dominic, man, like, doesn't ever work out.
But comparatively to today, like, they're not as big as they used to be back then when Cody was starting, and now they're even they're real small. So Dominic, comparatively, doesn't even look that small. He's taller than a lot of the roster.
Yeah, but it looks worse because he's taller, because he's so much skinnier than everyone else.
It's worse because he's taller.
It does.
I know. I get it. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it makes him look weirder.
It's like a tall stick.
Yeah.
It's a tall stick.
Yeah. He looks skinnier because he's taller, too.
Yeah.
Again.
You just stretch them out.
I'm going to advocate for steroids, all right? I'm advocating for steroids tonight.
Just advocate for just, actually going to a gym once. Like, come on. Like,
he
must. Adam Cole.
He must, no?
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a difference between, like, endurance, cardio training. Yes, I'm sure he does a lot of that, but like weights, like anything beyond 10 pounds, like, come on. Like, I'm doubting that. You laugh. I'm being serious on this one. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
Like, that's the hard part about this match, is to make it say it's a versus, like it's a match. Like, Cody's just so much bigger than him. It shouldn't last more than a minute.
Well, I think Brock will be there and he'll attack Cody and maybe cost him the match. No?
Brock goes all the way UK for that. That's pretty expensive, but all right.
Yeah, it's a big stadium show. I figure they might want him there.
Is it a big stadium show? I feel the O2 isn't.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, that's not a stadium show they're doing. Okay. I don't know. Maybe they won't get Brock. Maybe they just do Cody and Dominic straight up.
I think they're big on it's the whole character stuff now. It's just he's so hated that they'll just go off that, and Cody's so loved. They just want having characters against each other. We saw this how Raw started. Raw was terrible, by the way. But Cody versus The Miz, it's just characters against each other. And how you have a match like that and Cody gets busted open is absolutely ridiculous. Like,
it was accidental.
Completely unnecessary.
Accidental.
Yeah, well, it's a shame in a match that bad he gets busted open. It's like if it happened in a good match, it's like, well, at least it was a good match. And for that, it's like, what a waste.
Yep. It was awful. And like, I remember we talked about it last week. I was like, man, this is going to be terrible. Why'd you even advertise that? You should hide that. Shouldn't happen. Cody versus The Miz. The Miz wrestling. It was
good the first time.
He shouldn't wrestle. He shouldn't wrestle.
They had a good first match. I don't know what happened this one. They going through the motions, and the crowd, by the way, Kansas, they were in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, and they just seemed like they were asleep for most of the show.
Yeah.
Until Seth came out, I don't think they cared about anything. They weren't popping for stuff, nothing. Like, everything just seemed flat for most of the show.
Cody beat Miz with the Crossroads. It was bad. Ugh.
And what's the idea with people coming out, like, they do a promo, and then they have a promo again backstage afterwards? It's like, do we really have nothing else to do? Cody does this. Seth does it too.
Yeah.
Like, did I have to see him, do 2 promos? Like, is there nobody else that can talk? Or anything else can happen? Raw was so bad. Thankfully, the main event was good.
Yeah, it was all right.
The main event was good. It saved Raw from being one of the worst Raws I've seen in a while. But just a bad show. Becky and Zoe Stark. Whoa.
Oh, God.
What a terrible promo. This is just a bad show.
It was so bad.
Bad show.
Yeah, it was really bad. I like how everybody hates Dominic Mysterio and he can't really talk when, everybody just kind of boos him out of the building. And then they set up the match there to start Raw.
Yeah.
Right? They had
Rhea came out and she got her world title, right?
Rhea Ripley got a new belt, which is the same belt that Seth has, except it's a white strap, which is basically what they did with Asuka's new belt. It's the same belt that Roman has, but with a white strap instead of black. Real creative. So Rhea has a new belt.
I like that Roman has 3 titles now. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. What's that about?
That's great. I love it. That's the best thing. I mean, they still call him the undisputed champion, right? So
yeah,
why not?
Sure, but why did he get that extra belt if he's still going to be carrying around the old SmackDown and WWE belts?
I think that title is just more of a, it symbolizes the fact that he got 1,000 days and he's been that champion for that long. That's the way I look at it. It's just a nice little extra title to say that you've been champion for so long.
Yeah, I like it. I like the presentation of it. Leor asked, I think that was that Leor asking a question? Are both women's champion called women's champion, or how are they different? So the Asuka, I believe, is the WWE women's champion, and Rhea Ripley is the women's world's champion.
Right.
Right? So Asuka is champion of the WWE only, but Rhea Ripley is champion of the world.
Well, someone wrote to me on Twitter. It's like, well, Roman's the champion of WWE and Seth is the WCW champion. That's pretty much how it works when you think about it.
Seth is the champion. Oh, yeah, Roman is the champion of all of the WWE and the whole universe and everywhere, and Seth is the champion on Raw.
Pretty much, yeah.
Roman is the champion of WWE and WrestleMania and all that, and Seth is the Raw champion. He's that guy on Raw.
I gotta say, it's the worst idea they've had in a long time. This whole let's have a Raw champion. Terrible.
Yeah,
just to appease Seth. Terrible.
Yeah.
Very bad.
Yeah, it's bad. That Becky Lynch promo was not good, and then Zoe Stark coming out was not
Becky
great.
just got lost in that. Like she was onto something and just got completely lost in this power, and then lost her words, and then got angry because she got lost. And then thankfully Zoe interrupted her, but then Zoe just started yelling and nothing made sense that she was talking about. And then thankfully she got interrupted. But then it's just Chelsea and Sonya. I'm like, wow, this has really just gone downhill.
Yep.
And then we had to see Chelsea and Becky wrestle. Like, whoa, this is really bad. Becky, she used to be one of the best, but this was not good.
Yep. None of that was good. Damian Priest beat Matt Riddle to qualify for Money in the Bank, hit him with a razor's edge. I thought that match was actually pretty good. That was not bad.
I liked it too. I liked that match too. And I was surprised the finish. I was like, wow. And beat him clean.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the real highlights of Raw, Damian Priest and Matt Riddle, because the match was good. Yeah. It was hard-hitting, clean finish that meant something, and it was a surprise.
The only problem, the fans just didn't care. Like, there was a lot of moves they did, and the fans didn't pop whatsoever. Like, so dead. Like, they did that. I think they did the table thing where Priest jumped over the table, and that there was a little bit of a ooh, and then everything else. Like, you thought the match would build, but no. Mm-hmm. No one cared about anything.
And Gunther and Kaiser came to the ring after the match to beat up on Matt Riddle. So I guess Riddle clearly not winning Money in the Bank because he's not in it. I thought he was going to win and maybe challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental title. That's not happening. I guess he'll just challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental title otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll still happen at SummerSlam, right? But yeah, I think it'll just be a normal, just whatever title, no briefcase. It makes the Money in the Bank match more interesting because it's like there's no true favorite when you look at it. They're all like mid-card guys. I mean, maybe Nakamura because he got a main event match in a sense at WrestleMania, but that's about it. None of those guys have been champion, if not mistaken. So that makes it interesting.
This pay-per-view feels like a house show.
Well, and now it looks like Roman will be in a tag match. Won't be wrestling Jimmy 1-on-1.
Is he gonna even make the trip?
Yeah. Roman's gonna wrestle, but I think it's gonna be Roman and Solo against the Usos.
You think Roman wrestles? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Roman wrestles. Yeah, but a tag match, no title defense.
Seth Rollins will wrestle. He'll defend a world heavyweight title against Finn Balor. Finn is like mad. Him and the Judgment Day, him and Damian Priest. He's like upset with Seth. The crowd ruined his promo. Finn actually cut a good promo this week. The in-ring promo there, I thought it was solid, but the fans wouldn't stop singing Seth Rollins' song and wouldn't let Finn speak. Seth had to step in at one point and be like, hey, say what you got to say. You know, like he was trying to quiet the crowd down and be like, let's hear this man speak a little bit, but they weren't having it. So the promo didn't quite hit the way it should have. But I thought Finn actually cut a good promo.
Seth buried him, too. He even said, they sang your promo out of the building.
Yeah.
He said that live on television. Like, what the heck?
But then he also said, he said promo, right? He said, he's just saying your promo out of the building. But he's like, but this is the Finn I've been waiting to see for 7 years, and da-da-da. And Finn also, like, I like this promo, I like this fire, but Finn's whole thing is, 7 years ago, I was a first-round pick on Raw. I beat Roman Reigns on my first night, and then I beat you 3 weeks later to become Universal Champion, but you injured me, and then you took my momentum, and you took a year away from my career. But it's like, dude, it's wrestling. Isn't he supposed to injure you? Isn't that part of the game?
Plus, how many times have you wrestled him since then? And we've done this, you beat me kind of thing, and now I'm going to get my revenge. We've done this, 5-6 times? We did this recently, a couple weeks ago on Raw. You had the match. You did the whole buckle bomb thing at the barricade to Rollins. Like, we already lived this. Now we're living it again. Why? Because we have nothing else.
Because they got nothing else. Exactly. And Finn is going to wrestle Seth at the pay-per-view, and he's not going to win. So whatever.
Seth is, so useless right now. Like, it's sad. Like, he's a good wrestler, but useless. Just, a waste. Like, it's not necessary. None of this stuff. It's just an extra thing that adds like nothing.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get Seth Rollins. But then again, I watched an old Macho Man promo this week, and I go, Seth kind of dresses ridiculous like Macho Man. Kind of like a modern-day Macho Man. And if you watch Macho Man, like, I watched him as a kid and was like, this guy's great. But if you watch him as an adult, you're like, he doesn't really make a ton of sense. And the character's over the top, and no one is really like that. Like Macho Man Randy Savage was such a ridiculous character. Nobody is a real guy like that. The problem is Macho Man existed in an era where none of the personalities were like realistic characters, and Seth lives in this era where everybody's kind of themselves but with the volume turned up or whatever. Roman seems like a realistic guy with realistic motives. Seth just seems like a caricature of a human being. So, like, there's elements of it where I go, oh, okay. I mean, it's like a bit Macho Man-ish, Kenny Omega-ish. There's, like, elements of it where I go, okay, I can kind of allow this to happen in wrestling and I don't have to hate it. But when I actually watch it and like, in theory, the concept is like, okay, I can see how this could work. But when he actually does it, I'm bored. I'm really bored. I find the man tremendously boring. The it factor? I don't think he has it. He doesn't have it. He's good at things. He looks the part in a way. He's good enough at wrestling, but there's something that doesn't click with me. I know some people really like Seth, but it just doesn't hit. I don't, like, he's not AJ Styles. He's not Bryan Danielson. He's cool and all in the ring, but he's not those guys, Yeah.
Well, I think what's hurt him a lot now in our eyes, and I think a lot of people's eyes, is the fact that he said, this is the real Seth Rollins that's come out here.
Yeah.
And you're as far from a real human being as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst part about it.
Are you that guy when you're taking care of your kid? Ha 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 ha! Like, what? She'd be frightened of you. What are you talking about?
He's so cartoonish too much and way too annoying, where it's like, I'd rather not watch this because this character is not interesting whatsoever. Like, just wrestle, that's it. But when you talk, I don't want to listen because it's some of the worst talking ever. And it leads to nothing. It just leads to more like cackling and, okay, we'll have a match. And that's about all it leads to. Yeah. Nothing, never anything interesting. Never.
Yeah, I find him tremendously dull. He really just kind of, I watch Raw and I go, oh, God, when is this over? When is this Seth Rollins show over? It really shows you, like, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. You compare the two. SmackDown as the Roman Reigns show is far more compelling. He also has Paul Heyman helping him kind of lay out the whole thing, and I think it also helps to have Paul Heyman.
Yeah, no question. But I mean, he's got a great cast. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But Seth, as the Seth show, no, not so much. Cody does what he can, but it's not working.
Yeah, there's a limit. Bronson Reed beats Rick O'Shea when Shinsuke Nakamura attacked Bronson, so it's a disqualification finish there. They're gearing up for Money in the Bank. Bronson threw Ricochet on Shinsuke, so Shinsuke got mad, and then Ricochet got mad that Shinsuke cost him the match. And then Shinsuke and Ricochet superplexed Bronson together, which actually got the crowd to chant holy shit, because it was pretty impressive, because Bronson's gigantic.
Well, they almost dropped him on his head, too, if you caught that. Like, he barely turned over in time. It was almost like a brain buster.
Yeah. I like all those guys. I wouldn't be
This was all right, but
to see them more.
The problem is with this stuff, it's just going around in circles. It's like, oh, Ricochet Nakamura wrestles, and Bronson interferes. No, Bronson Nakamura, Ricochet like, it's just going around.
I mean, it doesn't go anywhere, but I like them as performers. I think they're all solid. Shayna, I was
a bigger fan of.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, just the Alpha Academy stuff, because at least it felt like there was progression with that.
Yeah. Chad Gable beat Eric of the Viking Raiders with a roll-up after Maxine did an arm drag, kind of, on Valhalla, who charged her outside the ring. So, yeah, there's like a Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy feud going on. And I like that Maxine has dropped the models. Like, at first she wanted Otis to lose Gable and come with the models. And now, through some strange turn of events, she has dropped the models and is like full. She's wearing a singlet now and like Alpha Academy gear. She's doing wrestling moves. Like, she is now adopted the teachings of Master Gable. Oh, thank you. Which I think is great, man, because he's so good.
Yeah.
He's good.
It's
Otis
really
is good.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, keep them together, make them stronger, give them Maxine. Like, fantastic. The WWE gets it with these guys. And this is one of the few times where the WWE gets something that the fans have not figured out. Gable, Otis are money. And the fans haven't figured it out yet. But the WWE keeps giving them to you on TV. There's a reason. It's because they're fucking good. They know what they're doing.
Well, yes, you're giving WWE a little bit too much credit in the sense that, like this Maxine thing, it was going in one direction. Now something will change it because that wasn't really going anywhere.
Well,
so we're doing it this way. So, like, they're kind of, fixing it. They did a really good promo, I don't know if you saw online, where Gable was teaching her how to do the arm drag.
No,
like, that should have aired.
Oh, yeah.
That should have aired because that played into what you saw on Raw. Like, that was kind of necessary. Like, this is the problem, too, that, like, Alpha Academy, I almost said American Alpha, like Sami Zayn. But with Alpha Academy, with this, like, it's good for the teaching to show, like, the progression with them. But when you only show a little bit, it kind of shows that they're not fully invested in this, like, a little bit. Plus, are they faces or heels? Like, I feel like it switches week to week.
I think they're faces now.
But then maybe next week they'll be heels. Like, they switch them too much. It's hard for them to get over if they're not consistent.
I think, was it last week where Kevin Owens is like, do the thing, say the thing to Gable?
Right.
Ask him to say
I
that.
think so.
Shoosh.
No, I think he said the thank you. Thank you was the thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, they addressed Kevin Owens acting crazy this week on Raw, right? Sami Zayn, that was one of the better points where Sami Zayn's like, you've been kind of losing it lately. Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm just really frustrated and been stressed out for months with the bloodline. And then he starts exploding again and getting all mad and yelling, Tasmanian devil, Kevin. And then Sammy's like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And then Sammy's like, seems a little worried. So there's something brewing there with Kevin Owens acting all nuts all the time. But I like that finally. I just like that finally somebody's addressed it. Like Sammy has finally said, hey, what's going on with you, man?
It's going to address, but I just feel like it's still more bad comedy in the end. Like, and it happens on Raw and SmackDown now, so you get a lot. Like, it's really forced down your throat, this whole Kevin outburst stuff. It just, to me, feels like we're going to do something with Kevin, but we're not going to do a big thing with Kevin. So he's going to have this attitude problem. Before it was like he's paranoid about Elias. It's just stuff that's not really big, nothing really noticeable, but it's something that he's doing. It's unique to him.
Yeah.
But it's not a big, like, to me, it's to keep him around doing something, but it's not really meaningful. And in the end, it just comes off as bad comedy. It's just trying to make some laughs. And maybe some people think it's funny, but I'm not laughing.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy it either. But I like that Sammy at least addressed it and was like, hey, this is abnormal behavior. Maybe something's wrong here.
That was all right. And you mentioned about Ronda and Shayna before.
Yes.
That was surprising. I didn't expect Shayna to get the win there on that one.
Really?
Like, they usually lose those kind of matches because they're tag champs. And then, Raquel, if she gets a partner, maybe she can face them,
Yeah.
Usually that's how it works.
But they're not doing much with Raquel, and they seem to be gearing Ronda and Shayna up for a big run. They're going to win those NXT tag titles on SmackDown next week. Like, they're off and running.
The undisputed women's tag champs.
That's right. They're going to be the undisputed. They're going to have the NXT and the WWE tag team titles. Shayna got the win, but, Raquel lost, but she got distracted by Ronda, and Ronda pushed the, Shayna during the cover and kind of helped her with the leverage there. They cheated to win. So Raquel won, but it was still Ronda and Shayna versus Raquel in a 2-on-1 type deal. So not a huge
Shayna
deal.
won. Raquel lost. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Shayna won. What did I say? Raquel won?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Shayna won, but her and Ronda cheated to win. So.
Right.
And then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser in the main event to retain the tag team titles.
Great match.
Sami winning with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Rare.
Well, I think
finish.
He needs it out of nowhere kind of move, like to do the haluva kick. It's got to be a big setup kind of thing. So, and they already teased it, I think, once or twice in the match. So, Blue Thunder is like, boom, he getting out of nowhere. And I feel like he's won at least a match before in the past with it. It's just extremely rare.
Yeah,
I think it's happened before.
Like, I don't remember him winning a big match. Like, this felt like a big match, which they did a good job of making it a tag team title match and making it feel important. Gunther and Kaiser. I like Kaiser, man. The guy can talk. He's got presence.
His little... He did this, Death Valley, driver kind of fall-through thing. That looked really good how he did it.
They're good.
There was a lot of good moments. Yeah, they got some good tag moves, too, as well, in the match.
They've been working together for a long time, too. In NXT and everything. They've been together for a while.
That Doomsday device thing they did, and, Sammy took a fantastic bump with it when Gunther, pushed him over and, he did a big flip. That looked fantastic. I mean, there was some believable, that could end right there. Some great clotheslines Gunther hit, too, on Sammy. Man, that looked great. Play him in.
Very good. Very good match to close Raw. The rest of the show was pretty weak, but at least they had a really solid main event. And Kevin and Sami go from Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser over to SmackDown, where they will face Pretty Deadly.
I hate being right about that. I really was upset.
Yeah, I figured. No. I figured that would happen too, didn't I? They would win the gauntlet.
It's fun. It came down to you thought Braun Brutes or Pretty Deadly. And you were like, it depends if who was ever near the end. If it's them near the end, then them. Then if it's them near the end, it'd be them. So that's how it worked. Yeah.
Correct. It's pretty easy to figure out because those are the two teams that were really doing something. They opened the show with the gauntlet match. Sheamus and Ridge Holland beat the Street Profits in a decent match. Sheamus hit the brogue kick on Dawkins. Nice abrupt finish there. Nice brogue. And then Sheamus and Ridge finished off the Good Brothers, another brogue kick on Carl Anderson for the win there. They kept on going, beating the LWO. It's not Santos Escobar, it's the two other guys, Joaquin Wilde and...
I want to say Phoenix something.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Or I could be wrong. No, not Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Anyways, they got beat, and then Sheamus and Ridge squashed Hit Row, which was hilarious. Hit Row was in the match. They took one move, a brogue kick on Top Dollar, 1, 2, 3. Squashed him.
I called them Flop Dollar.
Did he?
That's pretty bad.
They are just a joke at this point. WWE just makes fun of them. They put them on TV so that Michael Cole can mock them and then they could squash them. I don't mind.
It's just funny.
What happened to the lady that was with them?
She was it? I thought she was there. No,
I didn't know. I didn't see her there.
Well,
Be Real, Be Fab,
Be Fab, yeah.
Be Square.
It was weird how they did the gauntlet. Everyone was around ringside, where everyone usually would get an entrance. So that was kind of weird. So maybe it was too clunky to have her around. Maybe.
I guess that was weird how everybody was around ringside. I guess they're trying to speed it up.
Yeah.
Or maybe just give us a lot of shots of Pretty Deadly so we could just get a good look at those guys. We saw a lot of them. They wound up beating Sheamus and Ridge Holland in the final match of the gauntlet after a pretty decent top rope leg drop from Pretty or Deadly, I'm not sure, on Sheamus. It's kind of a nice move there. Like the way he hit it was nice. Went to the top, hit the leg drop. It's not bad.
It's all right, but in terms of matches, I definitely would have rather seen the Brawling Brutes against Kevin and Sami than Pretty Deadly. I'm not looking forward to this match.
No. They're a silly tag team that has no chance of winning. And if they do win, what the fuck? Right? So Pretty Deadly win the gauntlet, and they'll get a tag team title shot against Sammy and Kevin in 2 weeks on SmackDown in London. So that'll be the day before Money in the Bank. So I would assume Sammy and Kevin will not be working the pay-per-view. Their match will be on SmackDown the night before.
Oh, I thought it would be at Money in the Bank, no?
No, it's on SmackDown.
Oh, it's on. Wow, that's crazy. Like, why would you do that?
Well, they're trying to make the SmackDown the night before important. You know?
Yeah, I guess. I get it, but to me that should have been, premium live event, but oh well.
Because they have Pretty Deadly versus Kevin Owens and Sammy for that SmackDown in 2 weeks in London the night before Money in the Bank, and they also are doing Charlotte Flair versus Asuka for the women's title on that same SmackDown, which is an even bigger match.
But they can always come back the next night with a 3-way. So I can kind of understand that.
Yeah. I don't think they will come back the next night with a 3-way, though, with Bianca. I don't think they're going to do that.
They're going to wait to SummerSlam? Like everything? Let's wait for everything for SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you're finally on board with that. Okay.
Well, just with that, I don't think they turn around and do the match the next night. I'd be surprised. We weren't done with Pretty Deadly because Sammy and Kevin came out and cut a promo on them. And then
they were just stayed in the ring. That's why.
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly just stayed.
Yeah, but they stayed in the ring because Sammy and Kevin were supposed to come out and cut a promo on them. I mean, it's not like they stayed in the ring on their own accord, going into business for themselves like Hangman Page. You know?
Well, that was what they were saying, that, okay, you guys have won, but now you guys are talking. Like,
you guys are in the ring for too long. Yeah, but that's just the reason that they had to come out and do their little promo. And then, you should leave the ring and da-da-da. And then Pretty Deadly's like, what about you? We just wrestled a match and our hair looks great and you look terrible, Sami Zayn. Which I thought was kind of funny, making fun of his hair. Because it is like, maybe he should cut it or something. I don't know. It looks like, as a heel it's good, but as a babyface it looks odd. I don't know.
Well, he likes it because no one bugs him, kind of thing. He just kind of looks like a regular kind of guy. Doesn't look like,
But it looks kind of shabby. Like, I thought with the short hair he had like a smarter look. It looked a little better when he had his like short hair Sammy look. I think like the long hair works because it's all greasy and stuff. Like, it looks a mess. And it looked, I thought it was comical, part of the Sami Zayn like funny heel persona that he was with the Jackass stuff and then continued with the Bloodline. But now that he's full on babyface, I feel like the hair has to change. Maybe tie it up, tie it back. If he wants to keep it long, fine, but tie it back. It looks better if it's tied back, like something just a little different so that he doesn't look, the way he does. I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean? It looks odd, the hair. It's not babyface hair. It's not babyface hair.
Well, to me, it's not a big deal. Like, I'm actually happier that he wears a shirt now, because I found like he looked bad. I don't know what's going on, like in terms of working out. Maybe because he's been beat up quite a bit, but physique-wise, not looking too good. He should wear the shirt. It's better with Kevin. I didn't like Kevin's little comment. Like, see, this is again the comedy stuff about. I think this is probably on Raw that I'm mixing this up, but he said like, "Oh, we're gonna have a match, but I'm wearing a shirt and shorts. So let me go backstage. I'll get another shirt and short." Like that stuff. Like Kevin, like he loves doing that too, the comedy stuff, but like it takes away from him.
Yeah, that line was like, okay, sorry, very funny. What else happened on SmackDown? Okay, the Bloodline stuff. This was important stuff, right?
It's the main part of the show.
Yeah.
It's the main part of WWE.
It closed the show. Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa, they're in the ring. They want to know, is Jey Uso going to join them or not? The whole thing all night was, will Jey join them or not? Will he turn on Jimmy Uso and join Solo and Roman and Heyman? But Jey Uso comes to the ring and he says, Roman, I'm in as long as Paul Heyman leaves, because I don't want to be in the Bloodline if Paul Heyman is there. Which I don't understand. Right. Why does he hate Paul Heyman so much all of a sudden?
Yeah, we didn't understand it last week, and it still doesn't make sense. It's just something he just threw in there for whatever reason. Yeah.
Anti-Semitism, I think. Anyways, Roman's... I'm joking. Roman says, look, when you're tribal chief, Jey, you can choose your own wise man, but for now, Heyman's my wise man, so can't do that. And look, I'm only here to get us to the promised land, Jay. You're here. You've been groomed to keep us in the promised land. Like, I'm only here to get us to the top of the mountain. You're here. You're the next tribal chief. You're going to keep us there. You're going to run the WWE for years and years to come. And you're meant to lead. Yep. And the problem is Jimmy, your brother Jimmy. And then Jimmy Uso comes out, and he says, no, Roman, the problem is you, and you're using Jay, and you're a bad guy. And then Roman says, Jay, you're next in line, but you can't be a tribal chief and a twin at the same time. You need to know that your brother had a problem with you being the right-hand man, being the next tribal chief. Your brother was the one who was upset about that. Heyman was the one who came up with the idea for main event Jey Uso and making you the right-hand man. This was all Heyman's idea, but Jimmy didn't like it. And then Jimmy looks guilty, and Jay gets mad, and Jimmy says, it's true, I objected to you becoming the right-hand man. Like, all of that stuff was kind of, all right. I guess
it's kind of true.
Was it?
It's kind of what happened in the sense that he didn't think he was just a right-hand man. He should be like his own kind of guy. I think that's what it was back then. And he didn't really explain it tonight, but that's what it was back then when it happened.
And Jay is like, oh, well, you just think you know what's best for us, Jimmy. And, you think you're the older brother. And everybody told me my whole life, listen to your older brother, Joshua. Listen to your older brother, Joshua. So he's using his own real name, not Jey Uso, but Joshua Fatu. And I'm thinking, your parents really told you to listen to your older brother? You guys are fucking twins. He's older by, 3 minutes? He's supposed to be wiser than you by what? Did that really happen? That's ridiculous.
Maybe he actually was, some people are more mature than others,
but
in terms of siblings too.
Older brother, what? Anyways.
Well, he came out first.
Yeah, I guess, but for his parents to say, listen to your older brother, Joshua, and that's all he heard his whole life, that seems odd. What are you doing, Rikishi?
I could believe it. I could believe it.
Okay. And he's always been trying to compete with Jimmy, and he cuts this really passionate promo about how Jimmy was always the star, and he was always trying to compete with Jimmy, and it wasn't Roman he was competing with, it was Jimmy. And when you got hurt, Jimmy, I stepped up, and I became main event Jey Uso, and I became a star, and you are resentful for that. And Jay then says, Jimmy, you're out. And it's like, oh, man. He's teaming with Roman, and then he goes, and I'm out too. And then he super kicks Roman. And Jimmy looks a little surprised because it seemed like Jimmy thought, oh, my brother's turning on me right now. This sucks. And then he's like, I'm kicking Roman. So I guess Jay is still a little bit mad at Jimmy for all that stuff. He does feel that, but in the end, he's going to stick with his brother, and he's sick of Roman and all the bullshit. So Jimmy is shocked, and then Solo charges at them, and the Usos hit a double super kick on him out of the ring, and then Roman Reigns kind of recovers and stands up and starts getting mad, and then he eats a double super kick from the Usos, and then the Usos stand tall, and they do the We the Ones thing. They put their ones up, but not for Roman Reigns. They're acknowledging themselves. They're not acknowledging the tribal chief anymore. They are their own chiefs of their own tribes. It was good.
You missed one part. This one part, which I thought was really important, was Solo's reaction when Roman got super kicked the first time. His shock.
Yeah.
For him, it kind of felt like it was heartbreaking, where it's that those are his brothers,
mm-hmm.
and they're going against the tribal chief, It's in a way, he doesn't want to do this.
Yeah.
But he has no choice. And to me, that kind of showed on his face. It's you guys just put me in this position. How could you do this? I thought that was really good.
I missed that. I was looking at the Usos. There was a lot going on. Yeah. And the delivery of Jey Uso was fantastic in that promo. Jey Uso killed it. Roman was great. Jimmy was great. Jimmy looking all guilty when, Roman's he didn't want you to be the right man. That was really good. Heyman sold it well. They're all playing their parts very, very well. And, it was a good promo. And it surprised me, too. It took me on a little ride. I was like, oh, okay, Jay is really mad at Jimmy, and maybe they'll kind of leave Jimmy on the side. And then, nope. Usos are back together, which didn't make a ton of sense in the moment, you know? Because all that stuff, like, Jay seemed legit mad, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, but fuck Roman. It's like, what? What do you mean? I didn't really get it, but I kind of get it, because he's your brother, and, you know, things happen, but you're going to stick together.
There's a couple of things I think that will tie in the end, is the fact that it was Paul Heyman's idea. The fact that Jay would be the right-hand man, and that's probably what's going to eat at Jay, is the fact that Paul wanted this, and he doesn't like Paul, so that was probably the tipping point for him. And, like, he has issues with his brother. Everyone has issues with their brother. You have issues with your brother. It happens, you know.
I don't,
but
actually.
In the end, okay, well, you have disagreements or whatever.
For the record, I have zero issues with my brother. My brother's going to listen to this show, watch this show, and he knows. Like, we're coup de la, baby. Coup de la.
But you could have arguments, or
I guess, but he knows I'm correct, so in the end, it's fine.
So I'm sure right now you just started something right there.
Oh yeah, okay. He's mad now. What's he gonna do about it?
But you know, you're still brothers in the end. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, like, right, brother.
Little things, water under the bridge.
Yep.
So that's the way that works.
I'm looking at right now for him. I got him a little gift the other day, a couple days ago.
Oh, you can't show it on camera, I'm guessing.
Well, no, he's going to see it, and he's going to know. His birthday is in like a couple weeks, so I got to be ready. July 3rd, all right?
Oh, okay. I thought it was more of a gift for like some form for like a late night or something. Okay.
Oh, he always gets that from me. I give my brother all sorts of goodies, you know? All sorts of fun things. That just happens regularly. He comes by, I'm like, hey, do you want this? You want this? You want a little... This tastes kind of weird, but if you take it, it's pretty... make you go, you know? Anyways, so yeah, brothers stick together, brother. Okay, other stuff on SmackDown I really liked. Bianca Belair's promo. That was fantastic. Bianca, all of a sudden, found her voice, figured out what she needed to say, and killed it. Grayson Waller hosted the Grayson Waller Effect. Charlotte Flair was the guest. Charlotte talked about becoming the 15-time champion and beating Asuka in a couple weeks on SmackDown. Bianca Belair came out and wonders how Charlotte jumped the line when she was promised a title shot. And Charlotte says, look, I didn't make the rules. I lost to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and I never got a rematch, so maybe we're both owed a rematch. How about that? And Bianca's like, yeah, but I lost, but I stayed. I never left. I stuck around to try and do it the right way. And then Bianca, hold on, John, I'll get to you in a second. Yeah, Bianca says, I didn't run away and hide for 3 months like you did. Charlotte says, I didn't run away. I'm a champion with or without the title. And then she asked Bianca, are you a champion without the title? Which I thought was a pretty pointed statement there from Charlotte Flair. Like, hey, people look at me as the champ, as the best, if I'm champ or not. You're not champ anymore. You've been champ for a long time. How are you going to be perceived? And then Bianca's like, why don't you worry about how you're being fucking perceived? And she says...
she's Italian for some reason. She's a soprano.
Yeah, it was a Sopranos line. It was Paulie and Silvio. He's like, I'm just telling you how you're being fucking perceived. Why don't you worry about how you're being fucking perceived? No one knows what the future holds, my friend. Anyways.
Good stuff.
So good. Anyways, Bianca says, no one knows what the future holds, my friend. And then she shoots Charlotte in the balls with a gun. No. She...
Badge.
My God, John. Bianca
she
says...
doesn't have actual balls, I would think.
No, I'm joking. It was a joke. We're all kidding around. Yeah, I don't think Charlotte has testicles. I'm not saying that in any way, because that's awful when people say shit like that about muscular ladies. Charlotte's all woman, baby. And even if you have testicles, you could be all woman, I think. So, okay? I'm just being cool for everybody. Everybody's cool. Whatever they have is cool. I'm not making a statement one way or another. But I'm cool with everything because, what the hell? What do I care? Charlotte... Bianca gets in Charlotte's face and she says, look, I'm the longest reigning champion in the modern era, and I didn't have to do it 14 times, so put some respect on my name. I'll be ringside for your match with Asuka, and I will challenge the winner. So maybe you're right about that, John. Maybe whoever wins between Charlotte and Asuka, Bianca will just challenge them and be like, hey, tomorrow night, Money in the Bank, let's go.
I mean,
maybe
I'd do it. Maybe they won't, though. Who knows? Like, they like to save stuff for SummerSlam. Seems to be the theme for a lot of things. My big thing off this was that they keep complaining about rematches, but didn't we get rid of that whole guaranteed rematches for past champions?
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about?
Bianca was promised a rematch by Adam Pearce last week, so she didn't interfere in Asuka's championship presentation. That's why Bianca's owed a rematch. That's it.
Right.
And also, Asuka cheated to beat her at the last pay-per-view, whatever it was called. I forget.
It was Night of Champions.
Night of Champions. I was going to say Clash of Champions. Yeah, she cheated to win. She raked her eyes with the mist, right? So a bit of a cheat.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. But Charlotte, like, it's just she gets title shot because she's Charlotte. That's pretty much what it is.
Well, that's what she's saying, too. That's pretty much what she's saying to everybody. I get the title shot because I'm Charlotte Flair. Who the hell are you? But I thought Bianca's delivery and the fire was just really good. Like, it made sense the whole way. And I don't remember a time when I've seen Bianca deliver a promo this well. It was just perfect. And I feel like the promos are the thing that she's missing. Because everything else she's got. She's got the look. She's got the size. She's got the ability in the ring. She's got the character. She's got the persona. She's got the it factor. She's got an aura about her. She is a star. But when she talks, it's hit or miss. And usually it's a miss. But tonight it was a big hit. And I really hope she can keep going down on this path. Because if she can, she's going to be one of the biggest stars that wrestling's ever seen. So this was a very positive sign. I like this. Well,
it's just good to see that she has fire, instead of just her being, happy and skip into the ring all the time. There was actually a sense of like, hey, you're taking something from me and I'm mad about it.
Yes.
And you could tell in her voice, like, it felt like there was this shift in the character a bit where it's like, hey, like, I'm put up with a lot of crap and I don't want to put up with it anymore.
Yep. I'm not trying to let Charlotte Flair take my spot.
Yeah.
It was real
nice
fire.
To see that.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved what I saw from Bianca Belair tonight. She is fantastic. Zelina Vega beat Io Sky with a 619. Bayley had the ref distracted while Io had Zelina rolled up. It was a miscommunication, and then Io got mad, and then Zelina won. And then Bayley and Io were arguing backstage about what happened in the match, and Shotzi showed up and said, hey, Bayley, you cost me a spot in the Money in the Bank. And Bayley's like, well, you're not on my level. You shouldn't be in Money in the Bank. And Shotzi's like, put your spot on the line against me in a match. And Io says, oh, Bayley accepts. So now we have the match. I think next week it'll be Bayley versus Shotzi. And if Shotzi wins, she replaces Bayley in the Money in the Bank. So Io and Bayley are having some friction, and maybe Shotzi will replace Bayley in Money in the Bank.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's miscommunication, but Bayley will still win. Because I think it's more appealing to have the friction in the match instead of just Bayley be on the outside of the match.
Yep.
But could be wrong. Wait and see.
Currently, the women's Money in the Bank match is Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Io Sky, Bayley, or Shotzi now, and then one other person. They haven't filled the final spot in the Money in the Bank match.
On Raw, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Is it?
On Raw?
Yeah, Becky, Zoe, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Zelina, Io, and Bayley, and Shotzi are all on SmackDown. So who's on Raw? Raquel,
I can see Candice. There's a bunch, Nikki Cross. I think Dana Brooke is a free agent. She was on NXT, so it's not impossible there. More likely she won't be in the match, but I could just see her being someone to lose to. Or someone who just loses the match to whoever wins. And is there anyone else on Raw?
I mean, they could put Trish. Raquel's got to be the best bet.
Yeah. Or Trish Stratus, as Becky said.
Did she call her Stratus?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, how about some terrible shit on SmackDown? Karrion Kross and Scarlett beat AJ Styles and Michin when Scarlett tried to seduce AJ Styles with her boobs. I think she was like, boobs, boobs, and AJ's like, I'm not. And then AJ pulls off his glove to show that he's got a wedding ring and goes, I'm married, bitch!
No bleep on Fox.
So loud. Just looks at her. She's trying to seduce him right in front of Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross is obviously fine with it. This is some sort of cuck, I suppose. And AJ Styles, I'm married, bitch! The earth is flat, but you're not. Get the fuck out of my ring! And then Michin pulled Scarlett out of the ring, but Karrion Kross came from behind and attacked AJ Styles and hit a bunch of moves and then pinned AJ Styles. Clean, pretty much. Karrion Kross and Scarlett beat AJ Styles and Michin on SmackDown. That was so much bad. So many bad things going on there.
Like, there's a huge problem with mixed tags. Like, you put the rules are that, the guys can only hit the guys, women can only hit the women. And I know we're going to have the spots where the women are going to hit the guys, but when you do it right in front of the referee multiple times in the same match, you completely destroy what the rules are supposed to be. It's okay to do it once in a while in a match, maybe, and when the referee's not seeing, ideally, but maybe you could do it once or something. But when you state the rules are guys, guys, women, women, and you just have the women beat the crap out of the guys all the time throughout the whole match in front of the ref, it looks bad. I'm not a fan of that. Like, just
I didn't like any of that. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, as soon as they do their entrance, I'm like, this is so stupid. I hate this. I hate their entrance. It's so dumb. When she's like mouthing the words and then like being all spooky and shit, whatever the fuck she's doing, it is fucking stupid. They look like idiots. I hate that shit so much. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, such jabronis. Such jabroni talent that I have no time for. Speaking of jabroni talent, Cameron Grimes got attacked by Baron Corbin backstage. Couple of jabronis there. Rey Mysterio.
They'll wrestle next week.
Yeah, they'll wrestle next week. Whoop-de-doo, motherfucker. Who cares? Rey Mysterio cut a promo in the ring. This one was kind of funny because they tried to do something with Santos Escobar that did not work. Rey says, I'm really proud to have reformed the LWO, and here comes Santos Escobar, my protege or whatever. And Santos says, I'm going to win Money in the Bank for you, Rey. I love you, Rey. I love you. Thank you for everything, Rey. Right? And then he goes, and I'm going to win Money in the Bank for mi raza, for mi gente. And the whole crowd in Lexington, Kentucky are like, so just for Mexicans? What about, it's supposed to be a babyface promo? And the crowd, you could tell, we're kind of like, well, you're just doing this for the Mexican people? What about? And then he goes, and for everyone who has a dream. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, not just for Mexican guys, mi gente, mi raza, but also if you happen to have a dream, if you're Mexican, it's for you. If you have no dreams and you're Mexican, I'm doing this shit for you. If you're not Mexican, but you happen to have a dream, I'm also doing this for you. And for Rey, and for all of Mexico, I'm doing Money in the Bank for all these things. It was fucking bad. Santos Escobar, it didn't hit the mark at all. They're trying to do something there, and it sucked. And the crowd was like, huh? And when LA Knight came out and had a match with Santos Escobar, it felt like the crowd was behind LA Knight.
Yep, 100%.
Yep, people really like LA Knight. Though. I really like LA Knight. He's fantastic. LA Knight tried to win with a roll-up by holding the ropes, but then Santos reversed the roll-up and rolled him up instead. 1, 2, 3. Santos Escobar actually won the match. He attacks LA attacked Santos afterwards, and then Rey came back out. Rey, who I guess I thought he would stay ringside, but he was not there anymore. He came back out from the entrance ramp and chased LA Knight away, and I just love LA Knight's attitude. I love his swagger. I love the confidence. He's got a good look. He can talk. He can wrestle. He looks very big compared to most of the roster, especially next to Santos Escobar. He looked huge. He is he's something. He's really got something. And of the male Money in the Bank competitors, I feel like he is one of the favorites. LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rick O'Shea. I think it's between LA Knight and Damian Priest.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like I could go any of them, to be honest. Like, because we've seen Otis won Money in the Bank, right? So, I mean, and now they're pushing the whole idea that you can cash in on any championship. So it feels really any of those guys could win. And no offense to these guys, but this is not going to be the main event of Money in the Bank. Usually the men's ladder match ends the show. This will not end the show.
Jason Pete, member of the team, says that was way. I can't read tonight. That was way too Mexico. Wrong crowd. And Jason knows he's in Mexico currently. So shout out to Jason, member of the team. Go to join.ringsidereport.net if you haven't already. Yeah, I thought the promo was kind of like, huh? He was like, half of it was in Spanish, and he's like, I'm doing this for mi gente. And I was like, okay. And he's like, mi raza. And I was like, okay, we get it. And he's like, and if you have a dream. You know.
It's the difference between Cody
I get it.
Doing a babyface thing. You know,
like I'm not. Yeah, sorry. I'm not against it. You know what I mean? Like when Conan came out and said, Orale, viva la raza, and all that shit. We all chanted it with him. It was fantastic, you know? Like, I'm pro Mexico. I'm just saying the crowd was kind of like, okay, we're in Lexington, Kentucky, and you're talking about you're doing this for just Mexico, and you're supposed to be a babyface for this crowd. And I'm sure a lot of the crowd is like, well, it's cool that you're supporting your people, but like, do you not care about everybody else? And he's like, well, if you have a dream, I'm with you. Anyways,
so you think
I like
Conan
Santos
was
Escobar.
over?
Yeah, Conan was super over. Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. That promo was over, too. People have no idea, but that promo was gigantic. Orale! Arriba la raza! It was something else, too. Didn't he have some other shit that he said? Every week.
Something about, peel my potato, which I don't know if you should say so much, but he said
I don't remember that. Peeling potatoes.
Oh, yeah, he definitely said peel my potato, toss my salad.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like roll up a fatty for your pimp daddy. That was Godfather.
Oh, Godfather, yeah.
Roll up a fatty for your pimp daddy. Roll that shit, light that shit, smoke it. All right, John, I think it's time to get to that part of the show for me, and we're done with SmackDown. I think we're done. We've done it all. Rhea Ripley's got a new belt. Cody Rhodes going to wrestle Dominic Mysterio at Money in the Bank. Finn Balor against Seth Rollins for the world title at Money in the Bank. Logan Paul will return to Raw on Monday night. Why?
Maybe Logan Paul will beat Money in the Bank.
Okay.
I could see him win the briefcase easily.
Well, he's not in the match.
Well, neither was Austin Theory last year.
I think Damian Priest is my pick. I'd like LA Knight to win, but I feel like they're going Damian Priest. The fact that he beat Riddle clean this week says, okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He had a good match with Seth last week. You know, like the match with Seth was pretty solid last week. I feel like they're doing something with Damian Priest. They put him in big spots, and he shows up. He does well. The match with Bad Bunny was good.
Yeah. No, yeah, this could be a big reward for him, yeah.
I think he's winning Money in the Bank. And I don't hate it. There's something there. He's not bad. Like, he's a talented wrestler. He's got great look, size. The promos are a little bit lacking, but I think he's coming around. They're giving him tons of practice. I feel like he's getting better in that department. He had a little backstage thing with Finn this week that was very believable.
It was all right. I mean, it was short, but it was all right.
Yeah, but he came off well in it, you know? Like, it wasn't a big, long thing, but I was like, oh, Damian Priest seems like a real guy here, and there's, like, emotions and decent acting going on. It's not like, I'm Damian Priest, and I'm da-da-da, you know, which is what he's been doing. It was more like a real person, and I liked it. He came off well. I don't hate Damian Priest, man. I think there's something there. Seth Rollins is going to wrestle Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight title on NXT next week. Do you know that?
We talked about that last. Remember you said Braun Breaker was going to challenge somebody, and I mentioned Seth, and like it's now official. So yeah.
Yeah. And he's going to have an open challenge for the title on Raw Monday night. Oh, could it be Logan Paul answering the challenge?
That'd be actually pretty good, so I don't think so.
That'd be sick. That'd be great.
No, I think the open challenge would be just some random. It won't be anything great.
Some rando from a rinky-dink indie fed in Japan?
I'm thinking more. Who's that guy that beat up Dolph Ziggler? And I don't know if we saw him this week or not. I don't think so. What was that guy's name? He was also
J.D. McDonough.
Exactly. Yeah, McDonough.
J.D.
I think McDonough might do it.
No, we saw him this week. He was talking to Finn backstage.
Okay, right. But he didn't wrestle or anything.
No. But they were being Irish together.
It might be him because the tie-in with Finn.
Mm-hmm. J.D. McDonough. Good Irish name they gave him there. Derek John checking in, member of the team. He says, my picks for Money in the Bank are Damian and Io.
Yeah, I like Io. Yeah, I agree with that.
I love Io. I think Io is fantastic. I would love Io to win. I think she probably will.
I believe you had somebody else with them.
No, you know what? I think Raquel is going to get in the match, and I think Raquel is going to win. I'm looking at the people that are in the match. I'm like, well, Io, Bayley, Zoe, Becky, Zelina. I don't see them winning. But I think that Raquel is going to be the final Raw person in the match, and I think Raquel wins. It's time to elevate Raquel.
I mean, is it that kind of elevation that's needed? I don't know about that. I mean, she was like, how many times tag champion? You know, like 3-4 times?
Yeah, but like, it's time to make her a main eventer where she could threaten Rhea Ripley.
You know, these Money in the Bank cashes didn't really make people in the main events. You know, like look at Nikki Cross, look at Liv Morgan. I mean, they got elevated, but they didn't become main eventers.
No, but Nikki Cross and Liv Morgan aren't main eventers. Raquel Rodriguez is. She just hasn't been elevated to that spot yet. You bring her up to that spot, all of a sudden people see her in that light, and they go, oh, yeah, she's a very formidable challenge for Rhea Ripley or any number of the top women in the WWE. She's there. She's main event. Like Liv Morgan is not. Look at her. Look at them comparatively. I mean, one looks intimidating, one does not.
I think Liv's got more charisma. I think Raquel's lacking in that department.
Yeah,
like maybe the.
Come on, who do you think could have a actual fight with Rhea Ripley and possibly win? Raquel or Liv?
Well, there's no doubt about that. But again, this is wrestling. It's not about that. It's about who's a better character. Especially in WWE, it's not about who's a better wrestler. It's about who's a better character. Right now, Liv is definitely a better character.
Liv is injured.
She is injured. She's out for probably a year.
Yeah, so forget it. Raquel. It's Raquel's time. Raquel's a future main eventer. I've got Raquel winning the women's Money in the Bank and Damian Priest winning the men's Money in the Bank. Double Raw victories.
Wow. Okay.
How about it?
Well, I'll go with SmackDown for the women. Men, I don't know yet. I'll think about it. But
probably from SmackDown? Io?
Io, yeah, I got Io for sure. Like I had that last week. I agree with Derek, like 100% Io. It's got to be someone from Raw. So like, Damian Priest makes a lot of sense too. But wait and see on that one next week.
Same picks as Derek.
Actually, we got some time actually because it's July 1st, so we still got some time.
Yeah, we got tons of time. We got how many weeks of TV? 1, 2, 2 weeks. 2 weeks of TV before we hit Money in the Bank. And yeah, Raw in Cleveland Monday night. So it could be Logan or Miz that challenges Seth because it's in their hometown, Derek is saying. Yeah, I could see that. Dolph Ziggler too. Dynamite's in Chicago. Of course, Collision in Chicago. Dynamite in Chicago as well on Wednesday night. And SmackDown will be in... SmackDown will be in Lafayette, Louisiana next week.
Collision's at the United Center. I believe Dynamite's at the Wintrust Arena.
Okay.
So Collision, much bigger arena.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens. Oh, they have Punk for United, so not surprised they have a bigger one for Punk.
You don't think he's going to be on the other Chicago show?
No, I definitely don't think so, because it's Dynamite.
So they're going to do Dynamite in Chicago without CM Punk?
I mean, wouldn't think it's impossible to do a show without Punk in Chicago. They've done it before. No, remember that match they had where the Elite made fun of Punk? There was no
but
Punk there.
Punk had been injured. Like, he wasn't back in the company.
Right, but the whole selling point of Collision is that Punk is on Collision.
Yeah,
you have to watch Collision for Punk.
If the Elite are taking the week off to sell the beatdown and you don't see Kenny in the Bucks, I don't know. But it is the week of, it's an important Dynamite next week because it's in Chicago, but it's also the last Dynamite before Forbidden Door. So you do want to set some things up. Maybe you want to set some things up with the Bucks and with Kenny. In that case, you can't have CM Punk there. You see, already problems.
Well, again, you created a show for Punk, so why does Punk need to be on both shows? I don't think we'll see Punk on Dynamite this week.
Because if I go to AEW in Chicago, I would kind of expect to see CM Punk there.
Well, that's why you got the United Center. You have the Collision. Punk will be at Collision. Guaranteed. It's happening. He's wrestling. So you have him there. Nothing for Dynamite. So if you're expecting that, be expected to be disappointed.
How funny would it be if they just, they did Dynamite, they had, the Dynamite show, and Kenny and the Bucks are on it, and then when Dynamite's over, Kenny and the Bucks leave the arena, Punk shows up, and Punk does Rampage.
That'd be funny.
They could do it. Still do Punk in Chicago. Because Rampage is going to be taped after Dynamite in Chicago next Wednesday.
Technically, it's a Dynamite show, but I mean, it could be part of a Collision roster too. I mean, it's really just whatever doesn't fit on Dynamite or Collision. That's what Rampage is going to be, which could be good and bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Tomorrow night, AEW Collision. You've heard enough of us talking about pro wrestling. You'll watch some more pro wrestling tomorrow, and we'll talk about it all over again next week when we preview AEW's Forbidden Door. John, we're running short on time. We've gone way, 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 way over time. We have no time for Zelda talk. We'll talk about Zelda off the show.
Zelda talk.
I don't think
There's
anybody.
So much Zelda talk.
I know it's going to take too long. We'll have a 3-hour show, and I can't have that. So we'll talk about Zelda. I don't think people are really sticking around to hear us talk about Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know how much people really care. I think they're tuning in for the wrestling part, and then when we start talking about Zelda, they're tuning out because I don't know how much people are caring about our progress. I don't know how many people that are watching Wrestling Uncensored or listening to Wrestling Uncensored are also playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If you are, please let us know. I would love to know the crossover.
That's
if you're
fair.
playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, let us know. If you're interested in our progress, let us know, and we could maybe try to fit it in next week, some more Zelda talk, because we'll be talking about this game forever. But I don't think we need to do a 20 to 40-minute segment on how far we've gone in Zelda every week, John, especially now. It's like we've gone over 2 hours. It's ridiculous. But yeah,
that's too bad.
We could do it in our personal time, John. I mean, when I got the Master Sword, I texted you right away. I was like, I got it. I got the Master Sword. So
I mean, that's great, but really now your adventure starts. That's
I know.
Pretty much what happens with that.
Yeah, well, I beat the Zora Kingdom, so how about that? I got water ability.
I'm actually at the water temple right now.
There you go. It's not that hard.
But you didn't get the other abilities, though, did you?
Not yet. I mean, I don't have unlimited time here. So I did what I could.
To me, it wouldn't better you got the other abilities. It's made it much easier to get through this because of that.
Well, I was already kind of halfway through the Zora thing. I never kind of finished it, so I was like, I'll just kind of keep going. I already started the thing, and I was like, okay, I saw Sidon, and I had to do this, and I was like, okay, I'm halfway through this. I might as well just go back and finish that one before I start a whole new quest. I was like, I know this is one of the champion places, and I'll get a thing from here. So let's just do this, because I know it's important, so I might as well just run through this, and then I'll get to the thing with the bombs next. That's my next goal.
Okay.
But I wanted to get auto build. I wanted to do stuff. I've got my battery quite I have like 3 full batteries now for my Zonite devices. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I figured out how to do that, so that was big. When I got that, I was like, ooh, battery life. Now I can really, fly around the world, so it's not bad. But, yeah, we're going to cut the Zelda talk short for tonight. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Thank you to our members, especially Derek John, Jason Pete, staying up late with us here on a Friday night. Leor, shout out Leor, shout out Ray Cruz. Doug Hepburn, a lot of members checking in tonight. Harold Schneider.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the members in the chat, and I appreciate you guys supporting the Ringside Report Network. Be like Harold, be like Leor, be like Doug. And go to join.ringsidereport.net, just like Ray Cruz did. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Leor. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Jason. All the members supporting the channel over at join.ringsidereport.net or donate.ringsidereport.net on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Kick, and Rumble. Kick.
Yeah, I've never seen Kick, but that'll be interesting.
Well, we're everywhere, John. Wherever there's streaming, we are there streaming to you. And that's it. Thank you. We're doing it. I'll be back Thursday, 8 o'clock for MMA talk with the boys. If you missed last night's show, go watch it. It was eventful. We talked about Conor McGregor and the rape allegations and everything going there.
Yeah, you kind of skimmed through a lot of that stuff, though. You didn't let AJ talk a lot of stuff. You kind of censored him
because we need to be careful with what AJ says, because AJ will sometimes, say horrible shit that he doesn't realize is horrible. So I need to be real careful, right?
I understand.
Knows. You get it. We get it. AJ doesn't always know that he's saying something bad when he's saying something bad. He's not aware all the time. Yeah, I'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Hopefully, we won't be talking about Conor McGregor, but, it's an MMA show, so chances are we will.
Well, it's a big news story, so it might continue for a while.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So go check it out. The show's available right now. This show's done. You can go check out last night's show, the MMA show, if you haven't seen it already. It was something. So many things available for you right here. Thanks for watching on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.